Hello, everybody. Sanda Delaja here from Kyiv, Ukraine. I want to welcome all of you back to another day and another program today. This is one of the special programs that we are doing, just like we did yesterday. And the whole idea and the topic, the general topic, is exploring the mind and methods of DSA. And the host of this program and the person who is going to be challenging me and with so many thought-provoking questions will be Ben OKOH from the UK. And he did a good job yesterday. For those of you who were here yesterday and you witnessed the interview that we had, you know, I'm still having comments and very good, feedbacks up to now coming from yesterday's program. So get ready and invite all your friends and family members. Go ahead and invite as many people as you know. Go distribute and the link to your inbox, the inboxes of your friends. You know, let's just go and reach out to as many people as we can to come and listen to this message. These are new questions that maybe you have never even heard addressed before, especially, you know, because it's a new person that is asking these questions. People who know me here, they always know that if you don't ask from DSA, you don't get the answers. So the questions that you ask DSA determines the kind of the depth of DSA that you will know and the kind of DSA that is known to you. That you will be surprised when you begin to, yesterday somebody even wrote me a letter and said, I thought I figured out DSA and I know you know him already. But after yesterday's interview, I discovered I don't know this man at all. Because a new question and a new person brings up some other questions that you had never thought before and DSA had never spoken about, and you've just seen another side of DSA. So if you are interested in wisdom, in knowing some of these things, please go and invite your friends and family members. Now, I also want to, yesterday we spoke about sons, and we spoke elaborately about sons yesterday, but not enough, of course, to compare to this book that is coming out. So today, I told you yesterday that we're going to have a new book that is going to address that question on sons. Then, this is it. The book is here. It's called Kingdom of Sons. Kingdom of Sons. That is the book. Sons are deliverers and saviors. Sons are deliverers and saviors. So that is who sons are. But I mean, I don't know if there are going to be more questions about it or not, but this is on pre-order already today. You can get the book on Amazon on pre-order right now. So go for it, everybody. Kingdom of Sons. This book will blow your mind. You've never read anything like that. You will be shocked. So this is how to become sons. I was asked that question by Ben yesterday. How does it happen? How do you become somebody who becomes a deliverer and a savior? Well, you have to become these sons, and this is a book that will teach you everything about sonship in this kingdom. So this kingdom of God that we are representing is supposed to be about the kingdom of sons. So now let's welcome the host of the program, the person that is going to be picking my mind on methods and ideas of DSA. He is dressed like a Ukrainian today. Yes. He's putting into practice what we learned from yesterday.
Yep.
That you've got to speak the culture,
speak the paradigm,
and the paradigm and the values. So he's putting into practice immediately.
Yes. Yeah.
Ben OKOH, welcome.
You. Pleased to meet you again, sir.
I'm at your mercy today.
Well, I think we're both under God's mercy. But it was such a pleasure yesterday, the program. I learned so much, and I'm sure a lot of people learned as well. So we thank you, sir, for the opportunity to ask these questions and also to understand you, because there has to be a willingness for you to want to share your ideas for us to even learn more. So it was quite helpful. And if you missed that, you can always go back on Facebook, DSA's channel there, or Dr. Sunday Adelaja on YouTube. You will find the video from yesterday available there. And yesterday we were talking about your achievements and what you've done in the past. Your achievements in Ukraine, what you have done, the great things you've done, the Orange Revolution and things like that, that are humanly, well, you can say humanly impossible to achieve, and how you achieved them. And you gave us so many answers about that. But today, we want to look at, want to delve into the future. And we're taking the question in that you said, what makes you say you're living for 300 years? Because I've heard you say something like that about going to live on to, or going to living for past up to 300 years. So I want to know, the first question I want to know in that respect is, why do you need to live for 300 years?
I am still going to demonstrate, because when you ask me this question, I just remember right now that I'd actually answered this question for myself, not the question, not the sub questions, but the general question. But I will, and I've put them in a slide. So we're going to look at this. I mean, look for the slides, and after after I finish answering the questions of the sub questions, then I'm going to show the slides just to show people. To let people see, a picture of my mind and how my mind works. But the first question you ask right now is that why do I need to live
for
300 years?
Yes, into the future.
Well, 300 years is the minimum that I could see right now, but I actually plan to live for more than 300 years. Okay. So why do I need to live for 300 years? Yeah. The very elementary and simple answers to that, the answer to that is the fact that God himself that I serve is not a matchlight God. That's just, you have a matchbox and you pick up a matchstick and you don't just do, and it's not the candle God that's, it could be there for 1 year or a few years and it's burnt off. God is an everlasting God. God is an eternal God. And anything that God does lasts forever. The Bible says that his works are built on truth and righteousness, and they last forever. So God is always doing things from the perspective of durability and duration, durability and eternity as well. Now, it's very almost impossible for a man to have the durability of eternity, but at least we will not be cut short like most people live. I don't believe that life is supposed to be like flower. Flowers, when you see flowers, it doesn't matter how beautiful flowers are, but flowers are, like I have flowers, you have flowers there, and those flowers, you cut them, they are blossoming today, and then tomorrow you cut them, you give them as a gift, and in the next 2-3 days, that flower is withered and is wasted and thrown away. That is how many people's life is like. They don't have durability. They don't have suspendability. It doesn't have stamina to live. It doesn't look like a life. Life in its essence is not supposed to be like flower, especially if it carries the life of God. Anybody that carries the life of God shouldn't live and die off like grass, like flower, like grass, like flower, grass. That is what Solomon was trying to portray when he spoke about our days are like grass and like flower that passes away. Today blossom and tomorrow. But that is not the optimal will of God for us. That is not the way God would like it to be. Because it's like you are blossoming now. People who are, some of our family members, our wives, our husbands, our family members, our parents, that we see when they were just partying, rejoicing, and blossoming. Then the first thing you see is that they are dead. And the tragedy is not even that the fact that they are dead. We are all going to be dead. But the tragedy is the fact that they are dead and forgotten. They've disappeared into the oblivion, as if they never was here. They were here, unless you go to their burial ground and just remember them once a year and their death day. Now, that is not the optimum plan of God for us. I think that the plan of God is that life should have a maximum impact and maximum durability and maximum effect here on earth. So, and you have seen, if you look at, that's why we have history, that's why we have textbooks, that's why we have universities, that's why we have quotations. Why? Because there are some individuals like me who have thought of their lives and have thought that their lives should have more meaning than just the time when they are on the earth. their life should have more meaning than just a few years after they are dead. That they have programmed their lives in such a way that their lives is still benefiting us today. When you think about people like Julius Caesar, we are still talking about him today. When you think about people like Abraham Lincoln, we are still talking about them today. When you think about people like Isaac Newton, we are still talking about them today. We are talking about all these people who have lived years, hundreds of years back. But that is an example of quality life. So why do I want to live, for 300 years? I think I will going to live for more than 300 years. I plan to live for at least 300 years. That's the minimum. 300 to 500 years, that's what I can see already. And I already put in place program and systems in place to make me live 300 to 500 years. But I think I'm going to live for more than that, because I am looking at my value as my life as something extremely valuable. And if this life is really as valuable as I think, then it must be able to give birth to something sustainable as well. So if I'm not planning to make my life sustainable, if I'm not planning durability of my life, and the length of that life, it means I don't value it means the value that I stick to my life is too small. So I don't want my life to be such an insignificant thing that I don't think about how it's going to be tomorrow, even after I'm dead. For me, life is so condensed, and is so it's so loaded, and it's so heavy, it's so valuable that it demands to be thought about. But most people that are forgotten, why is it that they are forgotten? Because they are living for today, and they are living their life in such a way that they don't think of tomorrow. But I am living my life in such a way that I'm thinking not just of tomorrow, I'm thinking of day after tomorrow, and I'm thinking of years and years in the future, and how to make this life, which is God's investment, to yield as much profit for God and for eternity as much as possible. So God created me. So we've seen the example. That's one point I made. Number one point is that God is eternal. So I'm going to make, and God is durable. So I'm going to make my life to be as durable as much as possible. Maybe it's going to be eternal in heaven, but on earth, it's going to be as durable as much as possible. That's number one. Number two, quality of life. The value that you attach to your life is what makes you to think about the durability of that life. If you don't attach value to your life, of course you don't care what will happen to your life afterwards. But do I care what will happen? Because I attached value to it, because this life comes from God. And I've seen the example of other men as well. Ordinary men, the mediocres, they think that it's just by accident that people live. They are remembered like Shakespeare and other people. They are remembered just by accident. Solomon and David. No, it's not by accident. It's because they did something with their lives. So I plan to do something so wonderful with my life. I plan to program my life to live such a quality life as those people that we read about. Paul, Timothy, all the people, biblical and even human heroes, if they could live that quality of life that we are still reading about them, that we are thinking about them, talking about them, studying about them, well, why should I? They already have their example. It's one thing if I never had the example, but if I have the example, it would be foolish for me to live a less quality life, a less valuable life than them who have already shown me the example that you don't just have to cease existing when you die, that you could still be living 300, 500, 1,000 years after you are dead. Since I have those examples, well, I'm going to learn from those examples. And that's why I'm putting my life and living my life in such a way that it will be one of those lives that people will study thousands of years after I'm gone. So that's another reason. But the third reason is that Jesus is my model. Jesus is my example, and I learn from him. And his life is not just a life that was released from heaven to the earth, for 33 years and it's forgotten. Jesus is not been forgotten 2,000 years later, and Jesus' life is still as relevant as any other person living today. Jesus keeps on living today. Well, he lives in me. He's my example. I model my life after him. So if that is the only example, if that is the only example that I have, I think that is enough a reason for me to be able to do the same thing. So I model my life after him. If Jesus could live for 2,000 years and is going to live forever, not just in heaven but on earth as well, I must also be able to live a quality life in such a way, according to the order and example of Jesus, so that I too will be living hundreds of years after I'm gone, just like Jesus. So there are so many reasons for me to be able to want to live for hundreds of years, because that is, I'm thinking about life. I think I see myself personally as an expert in life, in the studies of life, in understanding life. And because I'm a student of life, I'm a student of how to understand life and what life is all about. And because of what I've known about life, because of how much I know about life, I must not leave it to die off like candle dies off, to die off like flower dies off. I must live it in such a way to be sustainable like Jesus' life was sustainable, to be sustainable like Paul's life was sustainable, to be sustainable like all the people, the great people like were Abraham Lincoln, and all the people that were Abraham, Lincoln, right? And all the people, Benjamin Franklin and all these people that we are talking about, they have lived a quality life that their lives are sustainable even hundreds of years after they are dead. I am going to be in their league, and I know what to do for that. And that's why I don't expect most people to understand what I'm doing right now. I don't expect a lot of people to understand my methods. I don't expect everybody to understand my language. I don't expect everybody to understand what I'm doing and my style and my motives. But I know what I'm doing, and I'm going for it. So you see, that book is written, Who Will Attend Your Funeral? Well, that is that book I wrote, and I'm talking about that in that book. That everybody should try to live such a way. Leave a legacy. I want to leave a legacy. I want to leave my footprint in a big way. I want the footprint to be so big, to be so large, that it will be difficult and almost impossible to be ignored by the following generations. Just like Martin Luther King and Martin Luther King Jr. and Martin Luther, the reformer. Just like the people that I admire. People that I see myself to be, they are contemporaries, they are people like that. And they are still living today, even though they have been dead years back. And I am modeling my life in such a way that I'm doing everything today, not for today. So anything you see Dr. Sunday Adelaja doing today is not for today I'm doing them. I am doing what I'm doing today for the next 100, 200, 300 years. So the people don't need to understand that, but it's important that I understand what I am doing.
I can see clearly from, the explanation you give, you have a high value for your life.
Yes.
And you've explained where the source is. It looks like you got the sources from the Bible and also examples of
great men,
other great people that have lived before now. That's quite it's quite impressive when thinking about that, because we also have a life, but many of us don't think in that sort of way. How much does you were speaking?
Yeah, because that is one of the greatest tragedies in life.
Okay.
For you could possess something, and then when you don't know and value and understand what you possess, then you just abuse it. You don't just abuse it. When you possess something and you don't know the value and the importance of what you possess, other people steal it from you. You waste it. It's got stolen, it's damaged, it's wasted, it's abused, it's thrown away, it's mesmerized, it's trampled under the feet. That is one of the greatest tragedies in life, for you to possess something and not fully understand the significance and the meaning of what you possess. So I know the value of what I possess. I know the value of life. I personally think that there is nothing more important than to study the science of life. I have devoted a large part of my life to studying the science of life. And thanks to that, I now know how to live life. And if you notice some of my books, a large percentage of my books are books relating to life. Life. I will advise everybody that is watching us right now to do a research and to go on an adventure on studying my books that are related to life. Then you will discover that is the most important thing we all have, life, but we don't understand it. But what you want to do is to turn that around, to make sure that the most important thing you possess is not your house, it's not your car, it's not your wife, it's not your children. What the most important thing you possess in life is your life. So what value do you attach to that? How much do you know about life? That is the most important study and the most important thing for you to research and understudy. And I have been devoted like the past 20 years of my life or 30 years of my life to doing that. And now I have a good understanding of life, and that's why I can easily and boldly say I am living for the next 300 years. You wanted to add something. I didn't let you finish your statement.
Oh, no, I think you did answer it. And, you know, since speaking with you, every time I discuss with you, I've learned not to assume that I know what you're going to answer or what you mean by what you say. So I really want to ask deeper. I want to know, what does it mean to live 300 years in the future for you? What does that mean to you?
Well, I think I'm going to use the opportunity to present my slides.
Okay.
This question I answer for myself. There was a time when I just started doing my live broadcast 3 years ago, and people were coming to people were asking and saying, "Oh, don't keep on coming twice a day. Why should you come twice a day? I mean, we are not fast enough. We cannot even remember what you preach in the morning, talk less of the evening. Yeah. I mean, we are not. It's not.
I remember.
Yeah. It's not. You cannot. We cannot process that. We need time to process. Just like now, I'm writing all the books, and people are saying we cannot read your books. It's too. They think because they are saying just today. They are reasoning from the prism of today. They are looking at what they see, reality. But I don't live from the prism of today. What you see me do, I'm not doing because of today. So when you see me doing live broadcasts twice a day or thrice a day, I'm not doing that because of you, because of anybody that's going to watch there. That's not what I'm doing. That's not why I'm doing what I'm doing. When you see me writing books every week, I'm not writing because you are going to buy my books or you are going to read my books. No. It's not you I'm thinking about. You are just getting benefits from that. It's not about you. So I want us to go through so I sat down myself and I put down my points. I put down a few points that I see as an answer for myself. I know the day will come one day when I will be required to demonstrate and show why I do what I do. I didn't know the day when it was going to come, but I wrote it 2016. 3 years ago, nobody asked me, so I keep it to myself. But you came now and asked the question. Now you are going to get the answer. So let's see this slide. I think I'm going to ask you to read them. Then I will explain them. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. This is you there.
Okay, so DSA, what makes you say you are living for 300 years?
Okay, the answer is following now. Yeah, read it.
Okay, I'm doing it to live for 300 years. I must make my essence come out of me. If it is stored up electronically, it is secure.
So what I'm doing by recording, you see, everything is documented here. I document most of the things that I do, and I'm doing them electronically, both books and videos and messages and live broadcasts. What I'm doing this for is because I'm doing all these things because I see myself living for 300 years. And what it means is that in me, my essence, my content is so big. I know what I have in myself. People think I've released a lot of messages and a lot of teachings on YouTube. I mean, actually, I have over 7,000 messages on my channel. It's bigger than any preacher you've ever met in the world. It's bigger than any motivational preacher. It's bigger than any individual leader ever has. No human being who is doing teaching and training, either they are preachers or that has as many videos. And there is a reason for it. So the reason why I'm doing that is because and that thing you think you have released that is bigger than what any preacher has done or any motivational preacher has done or anything like that, as big as it is right now, it's not even 5% of what is still inside of me. So because I know what is inside of me, I must make sure that my essence, the essence that God has worked on me so hard. God removed me from my village from when I was 19 years old. He kept me behind the iron curtain for over 30 years now. And in those 30 years, I was not playing about. I was not going about partying or doing something. I was studying. I was spending time with God, quality time with God. God was training me. God was maturing me. So all that has developed in me a depth and the essence that is so heavy, a loaded essence. So that if I don't release that essence to the world, I am going to be cheating my generation, the generations to come. I am going to be robbing myself, my generation, the generation to come. I'm going to be robbing God as well. I am going to be making God waste all the resources that he has put in me. So I know that the essence of what God has put in me must be released. So when I do 2 times a day live broadcast or 3 times a day, I'm not just doing it for the person that is going there to be watching there. No, I am releasing it to fulfill, to make sure that what God has deposited is being released for the generations to come. So that is number one. And that thing is being stored out electronically. Later on, there are going to be different technology coming, like blockchain. So we are going to put it in blockchain technology so that it will live forever. It will live for the more technology that are coming, much more technology, we are going to be storing them up so that it will live for all the next generation. So it is the essence and the investment of God into me, into my person, into my life must not be wasted. It is my responsibility before God to make sure I don't waste the grace of God. Paul spoke about that. He said, I've not wasted the grace of God that is upon me, and I want to emulate him. I don't want to waste the grace of God. So I'm working more than anybody could imagine. I'm working like crazy, writing books, doing all kind of things. Just because I want you to buy $3 book or something. I'm not interested. That's why I'm not selling my books, most of them. I'm just putting them for free on Kindle Unlimited. Why? Because it's not about, that is not the mission. The mission is not, so you either you buy, you don't buy. They are far-reaching effects that I have, that I'm thinking about, that makes me to do what I'm doing today. So when you see me take actions, you must think, you must understand from what perspective I'm coming from. So that's number one. Number two.
So there's so much inside. Bringing it out needs to be done with intensity. If I talk once a week, it will not be enough for it to come out till I die. That's why it has to be twice a day.
I have so much inside of me. For me to just be doing one talk and one recording a day, I would never be able to expose and release all that is in me. So I need intensity. And if you don't know about, I wrote a book, How to Regain Your Lost Years, for people to know how to work with intensity. So if you look at my life, you'll see that everything is very intense. Why? Because I'm pushing. It's just like you get orange. If you get orange and you cut that orange, the juice will not just come. Some juice will come out naturally because you are cutting it, but most of the bunch of the juice will still remain in the orange itself. But you need to squeeze it. But when you begin to squeeze it, then more juice begin to come out. Same with me. I'm squeezing myself. I am using myself. I am expanding myself. I am being merciless upon myself. I am not pitying myself. I am pushing myself. I am being used. I am compressing myself. So, I want to be used. I want to be worn out. I want to be worn out so much that by the time I die, I know, yes, I've been so squeezed and so worn out that everything that needs to be left on the earth has been released from me.
Wow.
Next one.
Next slide. Yeah. Okay, so it's a waste to have all answers to all life's issues and not release it. Even if my generation is not ready to listen to it now, there's a time the need will come and people will look for it.
Yeah, I'm a person of foresight. And the people who control the future are the people who can see that future. I can see the future. And I can see into 300 years for now. I began to see beyond 300 years into 500 years. And so I am somebody that has insight. I live by insight. And because I live by insight, let me see the test again. Because I live by insight, I am not, going to be limited by what the reactions are to what I'm teaching right now. So some people are attacking me, don't speak like that, don't let them say whatever they are saying. They think I'm doing it for them. They are waste of time. They are time wasters. Some people are saying they are critics, they are too small to understand where I'm coming from and what I'm doing. So if the whole world will refuse to listen to me, if no human being will accept my message, let them not accept it. I'm not doing it just for them. I'm doing it for many, many generations that will come after them. So even if my whole generation will reject my sayings and my teachings, well, a time is coming because I've seen it already. I've been to that future. And because I've been to that future, I can create it. Foresight has enabled me to see and to project myself into the next 300 years. I see it. I've been there. 500 years I'm going right now. I'm approaching 500 years and I'm creating it before I get there. I don't need to get there physically, but I'm already creating it from today. And that's why I thought, I've done a whole HMT, and it's there on YouTube, how to live for the next 25 years, how to plan your life for the next 25 years. So if I'm teaching you to plan for the next 25 years, be sure that I have planned for the next 300 years.
Wow. Before I read the next one,
yes,
I just wanted to make a comment because...
Yeah, be free to go.
Okay, because when you said you'd seen so far into the future, it sounded like Martin Luther King. When he said this, I have a dream speech, and he speaks about... he's seen ahead. Is this similar? Would you compare what you're saying now to his?
Definitely.
Okay.
But everybody is taking his words and they are just using it as quotation, but they are not copying it. People just want to say, I know that quotation by heart, and they are just quoting it. For me, I don't see things like that. I don't just quote. I want to get to the bottom of the truth that is being revealed. And I want to be able to model my life according to the best examples of the best men. So if he could see further, and what he saw 50 years ago is exactly what, actually less than 50 years, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, what he saw as it started happening in America. Well, if he could see 50 years into the distance, and that was just 69 or 68 when he was killed. It was like yesterday, not too long ago. Yeah. That's 50 years. 50 years is not a big distance at the end of the day. It's just yesterday. And, so 300 years or so is not too far away. So for me to say I'm seeing to 300 years, it's just the same thing like Martin Luther. But you see, not ordinary, these are things that are for sons. Can you see that book on sons? Only sons will be able to say, yes, I see into 200 years ahead. I see into 50 years ahead. I see into 300 years ahead. That's why I want to raise sons that would think like this. Not just me alone thinking like this. Into 300, 500 years. It is possible. You could coach yourself. It is called insight. You have to develop insight in yourself and the ability to see into the future. And if you are able to see, the farther you are able to see, the more you are able to create. When God was speaking to Abraham, God spoke to Abraham and said, go outside. I want to make you father of nations. And he was not getting it. I'm going to do this for you. The guy was not getting it. He said, okay, come on, just leave that tent. Come out of that tent. So he took him out of the tent and said, go outside. Because when you are in the tent, you don't see anything beyond the tent. You only see the ceilings and the walls. So he said, come out of the tent. So when he took him out of the tent, he said, now see the sky. Because tent limits your view. Okay. You don't see foresight. You don't see the future. But he said, now, he was teaching him a lesson on foresight. He said, now, no tent, no roof, look into the sky. When you saw the sky, he said, can you count how many stars? You can't count them because they are limitless. So he was trying to teach him foresight. As much as you see those stars, that is how your descendants are going to be. Foresight. If you could see, then you could have. As much as you see, you'll be able to have. Then also, when God was teaching him, that was one way God taught him. Another way God taught him was when his cousin, Lot, was about to leave him, and he was so broken, and he was saying, oh, wow, the guy has taken all the good stuff, all the good land, what is left for me? God told him, come out, go to the field. And look to the right, to the left, to the front, to the back, and see the land and walk to and fro and see. The more you are able to see and go, What you can able to cover is what will be yours. So it's foresight. So those are things. I'm not just reading the Bible and tell the stories. No. Bible is not just for you to tell the stories, to say you know the story. It's for you to model your life like that. And that's why I've modeled my life to live for 300 years.
Yes, and from what you're saying, I can see that you are beyond even 300 years.
Yes.
And the
no,
things
300 years are the things that I've already put in place.
Okay.
For 300 years to be guaranteed. Now I'm going to 500 years. But I want to be able to do as much as possible before I die, so that I know that even if nobody wants to continue what I've done, even if nobody wants to do anything, what me myself have done already are enough to live for the next 500 years. I will be living and talking every day 300 years from now.
Okay. Now, particularly because you'd raised this idea of the kingdom of sons, so I see that you are very interested in people growing to be sons, particularly people who follow you, who follow your teachings, and who read your books and do things. You want them to become sons. How should they best follow you in terms of following your teachings when you're far ahead? So, because previously I just saw when you started, doing morning and evenings, I saw it like you were trying to train, teach, and you wanted us to get the best. So then I was looking at the current. But now from your response, I can see that you were way ahead. You're thinking ahead. How best can those trying to learn or follow you, how best should they actually use your resources, considering that the things that I've put out are way ahead of
that's why
people are?
if I don't go far ahead of people that I'm leading, then I'm not a leader. So if I wait for them to catch up with me, then it will be the same. There will be no leader among us. A leader must always go ahead of the people that is leading. So the fact that I've gone ahead, far ahead, the better for them. Then the more food they have to eat, the more resources they have at their table. So now let everybody carry as much as he can chew. Okay, let's go to the next point.
Thank you.
Next page of my, yeah.
Okay, 4. Building a platform to carry out my platform to write 1,000 books till I die.
Yeah, so even the live broadcast that you see me do today, and the interviews that I'm doing, everything, they are not just limited to live broadcasts. Okay. It's going to be connected to the books that I'm going to write. And my target is to write at least 1,000 books before I die. Okay. And I'm going to write more than 1,000.
Okay, should that have been vision in terms of build a platform to carry out my vision?
My vision, yeah, that was a mistake. Okay, yeah, that was a mistake.
All right, so the vision is to write 1,000
books, right? But then people, the only thing you are talking about, we are seeing right now is the book, is the 1,000 books. People are complaining. They don't even know what is ahead. I'm seeing more than 1,000 books. I'm not just seeing books. Those 1,000 books you are seeing, they are going to be turned into 1,000 other products. There are many, many other products that will come out of this book that you will get to know later about. Wow. Next point. Or you have another question here?
Well, I don't want to distract yet. I think we'll come back to some of those questions later.
Just keep on writing them.
Yes. I see this as my shelling system.
You know, shelling when they bomb.
Shelling, okay.
Is that not the spelling? Maybe that's not the spelling. Is that the spelling? Okay. So anyway, the bombing.
So bombing. Okay. Yeah. So shelling the territory before I move into the ground as the military do.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I think I understand that idea. So it's more or less like the air working and the air reconnaissance that goes in first.
Exactly.
And
so
then before
what I'm doing with Nigeria is that I'm here. I cannot go to Nigeria physically. So I'm using this live broadcast to shell the cities, the country, the minds of the people. I am removing the obstacles, the limitations in the mind of people through the air broadcast that I'm doing before I come now with the grand troops.
Yeah.
So before I come to the country physically, I am doing damages to all the evil that have been done. I needed preparation, just like with the Iraq War. You know, the Iraq War was, you know, a very good example of this because Saddam Hussein had close to 2 million soldiers, but Americans only took 500,000 people to 300,000 to that area to fight. So how can you use 300,000 people to win 2 million people? Well, don't send the ground troop immediately. You know, just start shelling. Though they started shelling. By the time they finished bombing, the 2 million troops on the ground, they were waiting to fight physical human beings. But they couldn't do it because the thing was just falling on them like rain. So by the time they finished shelling the whole place, they were ready to give up. So when the ground troops were now coming, they were only coming to take hostages, to arrest them and to take their surrender. So that's what I'm doing. Because if I want to go to Nigeria from physically to try to change things when I'm there, from going from one town to the other, my life would not be enough. So this is another strategy of what I'm doing. With the books as well. The books, even right now, I'm just writing right now. For me, I've not started the distribution process yet. But the time is coming. Just now, for what I'm doing, just to create the books. It's not even selling. I'm not interested in selling or distribution right now. That's not my priority right now. My priority right now is just to write as many as possible, get them out. But by the time my next stage starts, which is distribution, this book is going to be in every house in Nigeria. Muslim, Christian is going to distribute. Just the way you see me aggressive and intense in writing and coming to do this thing, when the time, even the video I'm doing right now, it's not for distribution yet though. These are just for me creation of the products. Yeah. I'm just creating the product, and in the process, you people are benefiting and washing. Yes. But right now, it's not time for you to wash yet. Because before I go to Nigeria, I'm going to start the next stage. By the time I know that I'm finishing creating the product, then the next stage will be put it everywhere. Put the live broadcasts that I'm doing, and they are just recordings. As far as I'm concerned, they're simple recordings. So that by the time the next stage begins, they will be in the airwaves, they will be in television, they will be not just on the internet. They will be in every language, in every city. That is another level. So that's what I'm doing, right?
Wow. Yes, there are questions I'll have, but I think I won't want to break your thoughts.
Okay.
So I'll go through the slides.
The next one.
Yes, and then we'll continue. I want to keep on talking years after I'm gone, using technology to achieve that.
That is very straightforward. I'm going to keep on talking every day. 300 years after I've left this earth. People who will come 100 years later will keep on seeing me like this. You see me like this? They are going to be seeing me as if I'm still living like this. Wow. So, and they are going to be learning about God and Christ like I'm just like I'm here 300 years later on. That is the whole idea.
How are you able to guarantee that, considering uncertainties? Because you won't be.
So you want me to build my life on uncertainties?
Okay.
Or to build my life on certainty? You want to build your life on uncertainty, is good for you. So we have two options. One is that anything could happen in life, bad things, that's uncertain. So nothing is guaranteed. That is the philosophy.
Yes,
so you will build your life on the fact that since nothing is guaranteed, let me just, not do anything. That's one choice. Good for you. I applaud you for that. That's your choice. But the other possibility is that let me do, it is possible that things will work out the way I do. So I would rather do things as if everything will work out perfect the way I plan it. So I will keep on working as if nothing could ever go wrong. But at least I have things ready. So that because even if anything could go wrong, there was something. It's just like God. When God wanted to communicate to us and wanted to make himself durable on the earth, he gave his word to Isaiah, to Moses, to Joshua. He gave his word to prophets. Now, there are uncertainties that God also knew could happen. There will be earthquake, there will be flood, there will be scattering of the nation of Israel. Then there were so many uncertainties that they were enough to stop God from giving any word, any Bible, or any scripture. But despite the uncertainty that actually came, but because he had done them, at least some of the things survived. And that's why we have Bible today. If God had said, because uncertainties are going to come, and God has even prophesied those uncertainties, they are going to be scattered, things are going to be destroyed, don't let us do anything. Then you will never have anything that we have today. So you don't build your life on uncertainties. You build your life as if nothing will ever go wrong.
Now, that's a big lesson for me. And I'm sure it is for a lot of people. Because I think it's, let's say we're coming out of a normal life into sort of the life for sons, okay? Because otherwise we plan for, things. You think, okay, this is going to happen. And sometimes it even limits what you go for. Because you feel, okay, you don't want to waste what you're trying to do. But what I can see here is you have the vision of where you want to go. And you're going there regardless. You're going out and doing your best in terms of all humanly possible, to achieve that dream before you get there. So that is definitely inspiring. And definitely
just like some people are telling me right now, oh, you can never change Nigeria. Oh, okay, you sit down there and say you will never change Nigeria. You are doing nothing. I am saying I'm going to change Nigeria and I'm working towards it. I am building systems, I am building structures, I'm putting processes in place, I am getting the money, I am going to build Nigeria with my own faith. I believe I'll do it. When you are sitting there, it will never happen. Why is it doing that? It's deceiving you. That is two categories of people. If that is what you want to believe, you want to say he will never do it, so let's just he's deceiving you. That's what you dedicate your whole life to tearing other people down and to thinking negative. Why somebody else at that time, why you are still saying it will never work out? Somebody is already building what you say will never work out. Just like people say we will never have planes, nothing will ever fly. Why you are complaining and saying it will never fly, now we are flying. Submarines, it will sink. Why you are still just sitting, you are spending your whole life to say it's not going to work out. Nobody is going to remember you in history. But they will only remember the ones who made things happen. Next page.
Yes, we should be people who make things happen. Wow, that's a big lesson here.
Yeah.
Okay, before I die and when I'm dead, I want to have a foundation that will live after me. Must be known for these resources that I have.
Yeah. So that's going to be a foundation. It's going to be Sunday Adelaja Foundation, and it's going to be working just like you have Nobel Prize Foundation. Nobel Prize is somebody that put a system before he died. And that system of Nobel Prize is still working to today. So I'm learning from people like that, and I want to structure my life around that as well.
Do you have an expectation that all your disciples or people who follow your teachings are able to do the same? Do you have a general expectation that all of them do so?
I shouldn't. I don't put the responsibility of them upon myself. The most important thing is that I pave the way for them. If they want, they can learn. If they don't want, they don't need to learn. They don't. At least they know that they don't have an excuse. The most important thing is that I've shown them the way. I've put opportunity out there for them. Let them choose either to become great or to become mediocre.
Wow.
I'm not responsible for them. My own responsibility is to open the door for them, to make things possible for them. Let them take their own decisions.
Wow. It's like a crossroad where you have to make a choice.
Wow.
So yes, we should make the right choice.
I hope so.
Yes. Excellent. So that is 7, slide 7. I think we're going to 8 now.
Yes.
8. I'm going to release one subject matter on life issues, and they must become institutes, like I'm building 1,000 universities.
Well, that's another thing I'm doing. So people who are complaining right now that I'm writing books and they are too many, and that is this and this, they are not satisfied, it's $3 or it's expensive or it's something. Why they are still doing this, sitting down there complaining about $3 book? They don't know what I'm building already in place.
Wow.
By the time institutions and universities and institute research centers will be coming up on the direction of each book, like for example, Kingdom of Sons, there's going to be a whole movement like a university or research center that will only be studying that subject and popularizing in the body of Christ for the rest, that people shouldn't be slaves in churches, but be son. The whole institute, school, just studying, they're just doing that. Same thing, you see the other book there, Money, Riches, and Wealth.
Yes,
that is going to become a whole institution, research center that is just giving education and enlightenment to people what is money, what is riches, what is wealth. So the time that you are just seeing book now, that's what you are seeing. But may God have mercy on you not to see what I'm saying, because your head will just explode. Because apart from the institutions that are going to come, there are many other products that will come from each book. So I'm talking about 1,000 books. It's not just the book that I'm saying many other systems that are attached to it. So you are sitting down there saying, oh, he's saying this, he didn't say this right, when somebody is constructing life for 300 years and building projects that are beyond imagination, you are sitting down there and talking. Anyway.
Well, I don't know what. I'm trying to take this in. I'm going to read the next slide, but
yes.
I just thought,
let
me take 10 seconds to think about this, because this is not. You have a plan for over 1,000 books. Mm-hmm. On each book, it's a system.
Yes.
To create other products.
Yes.
You've only told us
one,
yes. Which is institutions, which will be like universities.
Yes.
On each book.
Yes.
So,
like, for example, there is a book, Who Will Come to Your Funeral? Yeah. There will be a research center or institute, like university, where is the whole subject of that university is about the essence about life, about death, each confronting life and death in such a way that you are living to make a meaning, so that you will not regret, by the time you die. So that whole institute is just going to be about life like that.
So it looks like these, an institute, for example, which is one of those products from it, is not even Africa focused anymore.
No. This is going to be global.
Beyond Africa.
If I want to live 300 years, you want to take it just for Africa? How can I waste my effort just to do something for only Africa? You the joke? Africa is just one project.
Okay.
Wow. Next one.
Okay, next slide, please. Mm-hmm. It says, every one of my messages is a virtue. I want them to be developed into a system of values, for systems to be built around them to change people and nations.
Yes. You understand that?
Yes.
For example, if
elaborate.
For example, if we are talking about the message, one book, let's talk about money, riches, and wealth. Many people never had that concept before. So I want it to be developed into a topic, a subject that will be influencing the way nations are built, the way human beings think in all nations of the world. For that's why we need an institution to propagate just mindset change in relations to wealth, riches, and something. So it's a value system we are creating. That virtue will be imbibed by people and living in a different way to be in line with these values that we are propagating in these books. We are going to formulate behaviors of nations, of individuals. True, that is the whole idea. So they are just seeing me writing books now. They don't know the books, those are just raw materials I'm creating. The book is still a raw material. It's not the goal. That is not the purpose of the thing I'm trying to create. That is just raw material from, when you get a raw material, you maybe cocoa, you could get, from there you get chocolate, you get the ice cream, you get this and that. And that's what I'm doing with these books. So somebody complaining about books, he doesn't know what there's still ice cream, chocolate, and bread, everything coming out later on.
I think it looks like it to me. I'm beginning to see it like the books are bricks.
Yes.
When the plan is to build a city.
Yes.
So you have a whole city that you're trying to build. So the book is a small segment of.
It's just the cement and the brick. Okay, let's go.
Okay, I think we're 9 now.
Number 10 now.
Is it 10? Oh, no,
the next one should be 10.
Okay.
Fast. You have to listen to me and move fast.
Okay. Now,
don't talk. You just move. Just walk.
Okay. It's not for the signal. Now, I foresee every one of my messages becoming a documentary, movie.
That is another product right there.
Documentary.
Yes. So for example, let's say a book there, for example, let's say Song Kingdom of Songs. There will be a film that is just going to be on that topic. And it's going to become a movie that's going to become distributed, and that's not the only thing. Keep on reading.
Okay, I foresee every one of my messages becoming a documentary, movie, game, physical.
So documentary is one thing,
yes.
Movies is another thing, and games are another thing. It's another thing entirely. Those are 3 products right there. Keep on going.
Okay, I'll start.
Games, there will be either physical games like Monopoly. Another game will be computer games. So, for example, if let's talk about another book. Who will come to your funeral, for example? It will be a computer game whereby it's going to be built in such a way that a kid or anybody could play the game and go into the book in the game.
Yeah.
So you'll be going to the book's life. This is my life. What if I do this? I will live this life, and this is what will happen. The consequences. If I don't want anybody, you see somebody died. Only 2 people showed up in the funeral. Why? Because this is how he lived. You are going to play it out. Then the ones that took these points and follow these values, they come to their funeral. The whole city want to come there. It's going to be a game that people are going to be experiencing. They are going to, the way kids play games now and go into the city and live there. They don't want to come out for 2-3 days. They are just playing the games. That is how these books are going to be turned into. So if you are complaining about books now, what about with the games being to come out? So these are things that I've already thought about years back. So I'm just producing raw materials right now, and these are things that will be. So for me, people don't need to read my books. If they can play games, it will even be better for them than reading the book. If they can watch movies, if they can watch documentaries, it's the same thing.
It looks like you don't waste your ideas. Because you said you've had this idea a long time ago.
Yes.
So, because, some of us actually, probably I might be speaking for people listening as well. We have, you have these great ideas.
Yes.
And sometimes you write it down, sometimes you don't write it. Yeah. And, if you can't do it, if you're too busy, you just forget it.
Well, but that's because you have not mastered conversion. Mm-hmm. I have mastered conversion. Anybody that have listened to my teachings on conversion, not just the HMT, but even regular teachings on Facebook, on YouTube on conversion, we know that I told people, remember this, the most important word you will ever know in your life is conversion. Well, me, I am a master in conversion. I don't waste anything. I convert them. But we've not finished reading that page.
We haven't finished, yes. Okay, this is slide 10. Okay, I'll start just to make sure the flow continues. I foresee every one of my messages becoming a documentary, movie, game, and physical and computer games. Not just computer or virtual games, which is delayed gratification. You can go through a room and go through the experience.
Just what I just described.
Virtual
game
experience of
all the books.
Yeah.
So you'll be feeling it in your body like this, the book.
Are these things that are going to be developed by the Dr. Sunday, the Elijah Foundation. So the foundation presents these things. Mm-hmm. So you've already written out this, the whole...
That's why you are saying it that now.
No, I mean the foundation already has its own manifesto, how it's going to work.
Oh, is that your problem? That's not your problem. What you need to know, you already know. Okay. So let's continue.
Wow. Okay, I think we're 11.
So because you are the one who came with the question of 300 years, that's why these things are coming out.
That's why.
Otherwise, they will just be my...
It's mind-blowing.
They will just be my notebook. No, it has been there now before now, so...
No, you know what is, before the slide comes up, because, I'm trying to, think as normal, what normal, those of us who haven't come up yet to your level of thinking or develops yourself to that point. I think a lot of people have these ideas, have always felt like this. This is why, when they say you say some things and people say, oh, what you're saying, you're like speaking what's on my mind. Mm-hmm. Because I feel this is what children are like. I mean, if you told this to a 5-year-old,
he understands.
They'll get it.
Yeah.
In short, they'll say, yeah, so cool. And then they'll tell you something better that they're going to do than yours.
Yeah.
You speak to a 7-year-old, they'll probably tell you, oh, you want to do game?
Ideas.
Mine is going to be better, because they don't see limitation.
Yep.
Once they start getting through 11, start to face more life, get into 18, life hits you at 21, that's it. At that point, they start dropping off some things. But that's not what you do. You see, you've mastered conversion, as you've explained. And
so people don't even know DSA. They think they know DSA. They think what they see on TV and what they see, that's DSA. They don't even have an idea. And thank God that they are only knowing what they know. So at least they can be able to manage that and live in illusion that at least we know him. I think we should continue.
Yes, slide 11. Okay. Oh, this is part 2. There's a part 2 of it. Mm-hmm. Okay, it saves me from constantly explaining myself. I can explain myself once and for all.
Yeah, because when one is recorded, go to read the book, go to watch the video. People are always asking me same question all the time. You know, it saves me from that. Go ahead.
Okay, next slide, please. I need a lot of people to work with me and for me. It will be difficult to work without understanding me. I'm getting tools to train them.
You see. So when I go to Nigeria right now, I'm not going to be sitting down and doing live broadcasts anymore. If the teachings are already there, they're going to sit down and watch them. Okay, nice point. Okay. I'm going to do, of course, HMT and things like that, but it's not going to be live broadcast. Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to, from that point, how do you differentiate between work with me and work for me? Just in case people who are interested
work for me are employees.
Okay.
Work with me are partners and friends and.
Okay. All right. For people who might be interested in that. Okay. I think it'd be
nice
3.
one.
Next one, please.
Okay.
Now, going back to Nigeria to change it on national transformation, economic stuff, etc. But those things are just tools to get people's attention. The real focus is to change people's focus so that these recordings will be mandatory.
Yeah, because I spoke yesterday about attention, right?
Yes.
Getting people's attention. These are tools.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can keep on going. Unless you want to say something.
Yeah, so because speaking when you said what you said in the car when we went to Independence Square, and I'm seeing that attention here. It's just beginning to. I can see that idea of create the resources, place them everywhere, because you haven't even started pushing the digital. You're just creating the resources. You haven't even started placing.
You are smart.
When it's everywhere, then it's easier to call people's attention to it.
You are smart.
So you can't call attention to something that's not available.
You are smart.
So you start with availability.
Now you are talking. So you now understand what books that I'm writing are about and why there are so many. Now you understand why all this live broadcast is about, what it's all about. People are thinking it's because I want them to watch. I don't even know who you are. I don't even know you exist. I am doing it for my own goals and vision. I'm creating resources, like you said, that will be used to create attention and to be able to arrest people and bring them to the kingdom.
Yesterday, we had the example of a nurse, and we asked, what if a nurse was deciding to emulate you and walking your steps? And you gave this lovely example of what they could do after their work in terms of providing free services and so on.
Yeah, because unfortunately, most people just live by what is mapped out for them. You just go to work, come back to your family, and go back the next day. So, but you need to break out of that.
Could you? Because I saw a comment where someone had said, "Oh, thank you very much," because she was the nurse. Actually, there were more than one comment that they said, "Wow, that they got the idea and they're going to go forward." Now, if they wanted to expand on this part, apply this idea of being everywhere. So and then how could they scale that small project into something like that?
Let them go and listen to my series. It's called Kingdom Series. I already released all that out there.
Okay, the Kingdom Series.
Yes.
Okay, so you've heard that. If you go to the Kingdom Series, you get full ideas. You see, that's what we're saying. You have already created a Kingdom Series.
Yes.
So you can actually just point to that.
Yep.
And it covers everything you need to do.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Next slide, please. The whole world will need this.
That answers the question, is it just for Africa?
Okay. So the whole world will need this. When the time comes and the whole world needs it, I may not have time.
When they wake up, when the whole world wakes up to realize that they need it, I will not have time to be traveling, to be doing conferences, seminars. Yeah. They need the materials. That's why these have been created now. They don't know right now that they need it. They might know they don't need it right now, but we are going to create the awareness, the attention. But by the time they wake up that they need it, even if I'm no more here, the resources will be there for them.
Yeah. The fact is, people who've been seriously looking for knowledge. I mean, there's some people who are following you, and they may not be, even open about it. You don't know that they're listening to you.
Yes.
But there are lots of people who are only first time coming to this type of availability of resources.
Yeah.
Because it's very difficult to find very clear, explicit steps. some people have this knowledge. I know there are lots of people, motivational speakers, who probably have some of this knowledge. People who are probably highly successful people have this sort of knowledge, but they don't share it. And if they do, they might write it in one book where it's just really glossed over, and and they sell lots of copies because of that. So I really appreciate what you're doing, sir. I have a lot of respect for what you're doing, and it's an honor. It's probably even a better word for that, because what you're doing, especially that you're doing it on the grounds of doing it for others. So coming back from yesterday, what we were speaking about, that idea of righteousness, kindness, justice, it's such a blessing. So I just
and you are seeing the practical. You are seeing the practical.
I'm seeing it in practice.
Yeah, the practical manifestation of
Yes.
that life is not about glory
It's not
or
about
wealth.
wealth.
It's not about wisdom. It's not about power. It's not about those things. Life is about sacrifice. It's about love. It's about loving kindness. It's about mercy. It's about kindness. It's about justice. So that you see, that's what it's all about. Okay.
Okay, next slide, please. Okay, I think we've done that. Okay, 5. Now, to hit the ground running, I will need co-workers, those who are already into my teaching, so that when I say a thing, they understand. If I say you don't need a job, there are people who will understand me.
Yeah, that's why I would not work with people who have not immersed themselves in my teachings. So when I go to Nigeria, I'm going to have a lot of people to work with, but if you don't invest yourself in these teachings, there's no need for it. Because we will not have the same value system. We must have the same values, the same understanding of life, the same philosophy of life before we could do something together. So I need to create the materials to be enough out there so that there will be no excuse for anybody to say they don't have where to learn who Sunday Adelaja is. They don't need me to discover who and what my values are.
So can I infer from this that it's not possible to live a 300-year-like plan into the future if you are working for Uncle Sam, or into the idea of keeping a normal job and you plan to retire and have a pension? It's not
don't even ask me that question. Of course, how will it be possible? Because you have donated your life. You have mortgaged your life. When you are working for Uncle Sam or working for job or salary, you are mortgaging your life. How will you still live it for 300? You've lost it. You mortgage it. You've taken money for it.
So your 300 years in the future is being created now.
Yeah.
So that's
it's
why
not to be created 300 years when I'm gone. It's what I'm doing every day. That's why I'm not working for Uncle Sam. It's being created every minute, every day. That's why I'm doing live broadcasts as I'm doing right now. That's 300 years right there for you.
Okay, another 5 seconds.
Because that's why I'm doing everything I'm doing. That's how it is what I'm doing right now today that will become the university. It's what I'm doing right now that will become the research institute. It's what I'm doing right now that will become the games. That will become the documentary, the movie, the film. The 300 years now are being created every day now.
You see, this is why I think you have so many layers, and it takes a while to really understand you. Because if you hadn't mentioned what you just said, the book you wrote about Stop Working for Uncle Sam makes better sense now. In the past, it was just why not get the best for yourself? Just work for yourself and get the best for yourself. That's the way I saw it. But now if you see it in the perspective of if you want the best choice, which is living beyond just the number of years, imitating God, imitating what Jesus' example has been, and even other great people. Therefore, you cannot maintain that idea of going on working for Uncle Sam as a way of making a living. Just basically job, work,
salary,
retire. So the job, work, retire does not fit into this at all.
Yeah, it is. When I say stop working for Uncle Sam, what I'm trying to tell you is that live for destiny. Live for the essence and value of life. Don't live for salary. Live to make a meaning. Live to leave a footprint of your life. Live, create your life. Duplicate heaven on the earth. Make yourself a person of significance. Make yourself heavy. Create life. Create the life that you want generations to remember about you. Don't go and be giving that life for Uncle Sam. Because while you are busy giving it to Uncle Sam, you are not creating anything. You don't have the time. 8 hours every day is gone. You don't have time now to begin to, it's gone.
8 prime hours. Because it's
8 prime
the
hours,
prime hours
yes.
of the day that actually you spend.
So use that to convert. You can still, I've written about that anyway. People could go and get the book. But it's in the book. But it's just that you cannot understand if you are not looking at it from the concept of all other teachings that I've done.
Yeah.
Because that word of Stop Working for Uncle Sam will make meaning for you if you read this other book, Who Will Come to Your Funeral.
Okay.
When you combine the two of them, then you will see the whole idea of the whole thing.
Okay, so would you suggest read, for people who are just really taken by what you're saying, read Stop Working for a Funeral, then read Stop Working for Uncle Sam? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes,
Of reading?
yes.
Okay, so that should be a good reading list. Probably in the future, we should develop a reading list. It's a good idea.
Good idea.
To have, public, probably on your DSA website or something.
Yep.
I'm sure that will be done. Reading list, so you can have suggested for ideas. So probably some of these things that we're speaking here, are you interested in the 300-year plan? Have a look at books that you should follow for doing something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That is amazing. Now, next slide, please.
Next one.
The next one, the one after this. Okay, I have worked in Ukraine for over 20 years, but they are Ukrainian speakers. They can't speak to the world.
Spread.
Is it spread to the world?
Yes.
They can't spread to the world. Okay, what I have taught them. But I am raising another generation of English speakers.
So what I'm doing right now, you can understand another aspect of it.
Yes.
Even though I've done most of these things already in Ukraine and in Russia. Russian people what knows Sunday Adelaja is. So another thing I'm doing is raising enough people who we take it in the language that is well spread all over the world. So I am reaching out to the rest of the world through what I'm doing. I'm raising sons in all nations of the world at the same time. Even though I'm sitting in this room. Right now, in this my room here where I'm seated, we have people here from like 5 countries just sitting there in this my room. And that is out of me doing what I'm doing every day. You see, that vision is being carried out even without me talking about it. I'm creating disciples, sons, history makers all over the world that I don't even know, I've never met. And not just in Ukraine or in Russia, but in about at least 100 or 200 countries at the same time. I think that is clear.
Yes, this is very clear to me.
Next one.
Next slide, please. Okay, sitting in Ukraine, establishing sites and stations in at least over 100 nations without going there.
That's what I just said. A lot of people, Nigerian pastors will tell you they need a jet. Or they need a plane. Everybody is buying plane, and the reason is because they want to go to 100 nations. But I am sitting in my room here, and I'm going to 100 nations every day. If I'm going to take plane to go to all those countries every day, I would never be able to do it. So I believe that this is a more effective way to go to 100 nations than buying a plane, and then maintaining those planes too.
Wow. Yeah, I hope viewers are being as challenged as I am. I have to reflect on my life, really reflect, because definitely, it will be a shame to hear what we've just heard, and then you go back to living the same way we've been doing, just the same business, the same, pattern of living. This really is challenging, very challenging. So I really thank you, sir, for even bringing the slides, because I didn't request the slides. I only suggested the topic, and you put this. So really appreciate that, sir. Now, next slide, please. Okay. I want to outdo Satan and his agents. Smear campaign and all will be overshadowed by the intensity of my words.
Satan is also working in this world.
Yeah.
Satan is spreading bad news about Jesus, about the kingdom of God, about myself. But I want to put so much truth out there that no smear campaign can compare with the truth. Too many truths will be out there, it will be overwhelming.
So you're not depending on God to protect your
reputation. No,
Yes.
no. God will do his own part, but I cannot even hope for God to do his part if I've not done my part already. I must walk as if there is no God. And then after I finish working and doing my best as if there is no God, then I come back and believe God and pray as if I have not worked at all.
You know, that just makes sense now. For the first time, it makes so much sense now, you know, than it's ever been. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that. Next slide, please. Okay. Leaving a legacy for them to work out, both to learn from and build on, like leaving an estate.
Yeah, so, you know, the thing I'm doing is an estate. Estate doesn't have to be in real estate or money or bank accounts.
It's a knowledge estate.
Yeah, this is wisdom estate, purpose estate,
experience estate.
Experience estate.
The visual.
Yeah, and so this is going to be like educational estate, and yeah, the life estate rather than money estate. That's what I'm living for my children and for the rest of the world.
So it appears that you're more interested in this sort of knowledge and living truths being your legacy than for any other thing.
Yes, because you know, because I don't live for wisdom, I don't live for wealth, and I don't live for power. So most people live for material things. But I am saying the essence of life is justice. The essence of life is love. The essence of life is kindness. The essence of life is knowledge of God. The essence of life is mercy. So these things I'm living is taking people back to what life is supposed to really be about.
You know, I don't believe, I can't even say that you're just living for it. It's like you're going all out for those things.
Yes, because I don't just need to live for it for myself. I need to push them out for other people to be able to see, and to be able to believe in them, and for them to be able to know there is an alternative out there. If I don't put an alternative out there, they will think that the only option they have is to live the regular life like every other person is living.
That's so true. That's so true. I remember in the past, you know, when I heard your message then, I think I'd also come across Peter J. Daniels,
yes.
who you've met.
A good friend
of mine. An award to you as well.
Yeah.
I read this book, and at that time I had read Titan, which was the biography of J.D. Rockefeller.
Yeah.
And I found that there were not many books on people who have Christian-based or background, people who've really excelled to that degree. But now, I mean, from your resources, it's so much that, you know, you can get on any area of life.
Your whole life
Yes.
might not be enough just to study all the materials I'm putting out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, next slide, please. Okay. I'm going to have access to material riches by the time I begin to work with money. I don't want people to misunderstand my wealth. I'm putting out there other wealth value out there. People will know that I have super wealth.
Do you understand that?
No. What does super wealth mean?
Yeah, that's why I wrote that book, Wealth, Riches, Money, Riches, and Wealth. So I'm not dealing with money right now, but I'm dealing with riches.
Okay.
But there will be a time when I will be dealing with money. So by the time I begin to deal with cash, money, they will understand that there is a basis for that. Because money won't make you rich. So I'm dealing right now with things that will make you rich, which is not money. But money will still come, but only after you have been made rich already.
So on this topic, would you suggest that those who are interested in this
should read this book?
Should read this book,
yes.
And then money will make you rich.
Yes.
So money will make you rich after reading Money, Riches, and Wealth.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. Next slide, please.
Is that all?
Is that it?
Okay. So now you are welcome back to your.
Okay. Yes, I mean from the slides you've answered quite a number of them. I've already ticked out quite a number of things.
Now you said you had questions coming initially when I started reading slides before you started commenting.
Yes, I still put some of those questions in.
Okay.
I've asked about uncertainties, which I've already written. What do you do if you've barely planned the next 6 months of your life? So someone who's...
I barely
No, not you. I'm sorry. Let's rephrase that.
Sorry.
Let's rephrase it. We definitely don't.
What does a person?
A person who's actually barely planned the next 6 months of his life is listening right now. What would you suggest they do as the starting point if they decide to make that step of faith into, trying to emulate what you're doing?
They need to go and look for my HMT, which is how to plan your life for the next 25 years. Let them go and look for that HMT. Once they get that HMT, let them go and lock themselves in for a week at least. Just listening to those messages from morning to night. If possible, it's better for them to fast, not eat at that point, or just drink or something, and just concentrate. Fasting will help your concentration, so to be able to really get the message and be able to to capture the whole thing. Okay. That's the way they have to start. They could also read this book, Who Will Attend Your Funeral.
Okay. And I was just thinking, if anyone trying to adopt, this approach of living beyond into like 300 years onwards into future, should they include their children in their plans?
No, no, their children have to dig their own wells.
Okay. So all
the greatest thing you could do for your children is to give them this kind of understanding of life. Give them the knowledge of life, the understanding of life, and the values of life. If you could make them to understand what life is, the essence and value of life, understanding of life, you've given them a legacy. You've given them an estate. You don't plan for them. Let them understand life and how life is supposed to be lived. And then they will create their own life. Maybe even better than you and better than yours.
So you haven't created a similar system for any of your children? Like, okay, this is for, some of them to have their own thing going, or the infrastructure or something like that?
No, not like that. The most important thing I'm giving them is just like I'm giving all of you too, is the knowledge and understanding.
It appears that you are interested in a form of integrity in what's being done, that whatever you bring out or whatever you are trying to do should come from how much you've developed yourself.
Yes.
And
not artificial.
Yes, not artificial.
Because if those children didn't develop themselves and they have the money and they have not been made wealthy inside, you say money won't make you rich. What I'm interested in is in them being rich before they have money, so that it is their riches that bring about money. But if I give them money and they are not rich, that money will destroy them.
So you're saying that if you're artificially successful, where you have success without developing the capacity for that success, it destroys you.
Yes, sir.
Could you explain that, sir? Because I think a good number of people are on that sort of path, if we compare it with what you're explaining. How is that going to destroy?
Well, you must live from within rather than living from outside. The totality of who you are should be based on the content of your character and the content of your values. The subtotal and the subtotal of your value system, of your virtues, and of your principles, they are the totality of what makes of who you are. So that is what you should base your emphasis on. Build those things inside of you. Become a person of value. Once you make sure that you are a person of value, then no storm will destroy you. Then you could have money because you are already rich. But when you are not rich and you have when you are rich with money and you don't have the values to sustain them, it's like it's like building a house without a foundation. So you put one floor on top, second floor, and no foundation. Any little thing will destroy it.
So that foundation is very important.
Yes.
Oh, that's quite insightful. And how can children, because I just noted this, how can children be trained? What's the best way to train children if you're trying to bring in this sort of thinking? How do you train them?
I just wrote a book last week It's called How to Become the Best Friend of Your. Can you show the book? How to become the build a friendly relationship with your child.
Yeah.
So that's one way. And then I have another book that is how to form core values in a child. So those books are there already, and you could just go and get them.
Okay, so note these books for if you're interested.
Or they could go to Family Series on YouTube.
Family Series on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
It's useful. Okay, thank you for that answer, sir. So how about mothers? Because I think you have a lot of emphasis for women. You understand, it looks like you have a lot of empathy. And I think that might also come from your experience growing up with and looking at your grandmother and the sort of effort she put in for you. How do you suggest?
No, that's what people think, but that's not it.
Oh,
that's not why I relate.
I just assumed that was the case.
Yeah, and
so
I've heard a lot of people saying that oh, Pastor Sunday is respecting women like that, and he's treating women, because you hear his story. He said he doesn't know his father. It's only his grandmother who brought him. Well, that's why now. It's because he doesn't have a father influence in his life. It's because he has a weak spot for women or something like that. No, that's not the reason. So you are saying, where is that coming from?
So what's the reason?
Why should you people think that who you are and what you know should only come from your experience? As if experience is the only way and the only thing that formulates who you are. In my own case, no. For example, I never saw a father. I never had a father, and there was never a man figure or a father in my life. So what experience did I have to become a good father? If I was going to depend on experience, then I was never going to become a good father.
True.
So it's not about experience, it's about intentionality. It is about consciously going out to look for knowledge, wisdom, values, virtues, principles that you know are good enough to make you the best of human being. I created myself from scratch. I gave life to myself. I did an inventory of myself, and I did an analysis of myself, and I came up with the understanding of what I need to become the life of dignity, to live a life of dignity that I wanted to live, and to become the best version of myself. So I put a system in place, and I developed a system of inculcating the knowledge, the wisdom, the virtues, the principles that will cause me to become fulfilled in every area that I've picked. So it's not because I had mother or I didn't have mother, or I created the Sunday Adela that you see right now consciously.
Wow. So that means, just as you were saying earlier, that the books are a building block. They're just tools for the bigger vision going into 300 years. Similarly, you used the development of value before stepping into where you are now. Should that be the starting point for any person who is trying to begin, in terms of first invest in developing yourself before you go ahead to trying to do something onwards? Is that what you suggest?
Yes, I have a whole playlist about life. That is, how to win in life, and things, a whole thing about life. So that's why I did that. I put that whole thing there about life so that people will be able to do exactly what I've said now. And I also have a playlist that talks about why planet Earth, and why are we here. All those things are to help people do an inventory of their lives and to be able to create themselves the best version of themselves that God wants them to be.
Yes. So yesterday we had a call that was, we celebrated a lady who had called in to say she'd completed a master's. She had 3 children, and it was very inspiring to see, people who are listening to your messages and taking actions like that. So when you have busy, people, women who have lots of responsibility, they have things like that. How can they still think of having a vision 300 years in, especially when they don't have the means to reduce that sort of workload from off themselves? It's like a responsibility that's there.
That's why it is important. If people have listened to me they would realize that as much as I believe in family, and as important as family and marriage is all about, those are secondary stuff in life. People must know, women and men must know that marriage is secondary. Children are secondary. You shouldn't live your life for children. You shouldn't live your life for marriage. You shouldn't live your life for husband and wife. And that's why you shouldn't also live your life for Uncle Sam. The same thing. All these things are secondary. So if you have listened to me enough, you will discover that life surpasses that. And that's what Jesus said. Life is more than these things. Life is more than what to eat. That's why Jesus said, don't worry about what to eat. Don't be worried about what to wear. Don't be worried about where to live. Life is more than all these things that we always bother ourselves about. And it's because we don't listen to Jesus. We think that that is life. That's why we go and mortgage our lives for Uncle Sam. And also, life is more than marriage. That's why Jesus didn't marry. Life is more than children. That's why he didn't bother to have children. Life is more than marriage. That's why when you die, there will be no marriage in heaven. Life is more than all these things. Life is more. So what is this more about life? That's what I was speaking about yesterday in that book, The Value and Essence of Life. So if people you are talking about women who are already so busy and occupied with different things, because they're occupied like Martha. Like Martha. That's the lesson Jesus was trying to teach us. Jesus said, Martha, Martha, you are running about the kitchen and trying to get some food prepared. You know, all the mundane things the very same things that Jesus said, don't worry about. But he said, Mary has chosen the right way. What did Mary choose? Mary chose to get knowledge, to get understanding of life. He went and sat at the feet of Christ, trying to glean into the purpose and the understanding of life. So what life is more than all these things. If life is more than these things, what is life about? Life is about knowledge. Knowledge of what? Not knowledge of the one you gain in school. No, knowledge of God. Knowledge of people. Knowledge of self. Knowledge of God. Knowledge of life. Knowledge of yourself. Then life is about justice. Life is about love. Life is about mercy. Life is about kindness. Life is, that is life greater than these things. Is about these things we are just about. Or you could say life is about the kingdom. That's why it says, seek you first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all other things shall be added unto you. So if men and women will focus more on the essence and value of life, then they will have their children and their family as a secondary thing. So the children and the activities and the responsibilities they have will not dictate to them, will not direct the direction of their lives. But values and the essence of life will shape the direction of their lives. But these other things are just supplementary. That's the way I live. That's the way my wife lives. My wife has a husband. My wife has 3 children. But she is living for the essence and value of life. You need to see how she lives, even though she has all these children. That's why I did the message, why my wife doesn't cook and I don't drive. Because we are trying to paint the point that a woman or a man shouldn't be living just to make a living, just to be spending 6 hours in the kitchen just because somebody wants to eat. And the person finishes eating and goes to the toilet tomorrow. Everything you spend 6 hours cooking, they release it into the toilet and flush it away. So you are living for flushing away. All your life, 8 hours you stood up yesterday is for somebody to go and flush away.
Wow. What a view. Wow. There's so much that, got from this. And, clearly you could see that you live intentionally and not necessarily based on your experiences. And also you are, this is why when I read The Essence and Value of Life, I struggled. Just for this reason, because having to say your wife has now become secondary, or your children now become secondary to the essence, the real essence of life, that really threw me off. Because, culturally and, the way the whole world works is that's what you live for. You want your children to, but I know, at least I know you, that your children are doing very well and you're very interested. So you're not even ignoring them. You actually still push, but you still have the kingdom first.
Okay, let's find any family. I can compete with any family in the world that are giving all their lives for their children and their family. Let them compare them with my own children or with my own wife. We are not worse than any one of them, maybe better than all of them. My children and my wife, they are doing better. Because you have to seek first the kingdom, not seek first the family, not seek first the children. You have to put the kingdom above yourself even, not of just family. Jesus said, if you cannot deny yourself and take up your cross, you don't deserve him. You've got to make the kingdom more important than yourself, than your own life. Talk less of your children's life.
Wow. So put the kingdom in first. So you just have that above.
Your life itself is a tool.
Your life
is
is a
not
tool.
the purpose. I mean, it's not the goal. Your life is not the purpose of your existence. Your life is not the purpose of your existence. Your life is a tool for your existence. Your life is not the reason for your existence.
Oh, I need to write that down. So your life is a tool and not the reason
for your existence.
For your existence. Nobody,
your life is not the goal of your existence.
Nobody teaches this thing. So I wonder how anybody could actually come to that sort of understanding. Because when you're born into the world, you start school. School is so you could get that job at the end. I mean, that's what it is. Because you start in, why on earth are you going to school? It's so that you can get the skills to the capital to go into the world and engage.
No.
Okay.
Your life is a tool for a greater purpose. That greater purpose was identified by somebody else before you were born to this world. God, who created you and sent you to this world, had a greater purpose for your creation. You yourself were created. You were packaged for that purpose. You are a tool in the hand of God to come and fulfill an assignment. And it is for the sake of that assignment that he created you in the first place. He didn't create you for yourself or for your own purpose. No, he had an intention. He had an agenda. He had a mission that he needed to be accomplished on the earth. So he packaged you to suit the fulfillment of that vision. That's why he created and packaged you in the first place. So when you now go to the earth, you now say, I'm beautiful, I am nice, I am educated, I am smart. Let me just live for myself, abandoning the thing you are created for. You are an ungrateful brat. And God is going to judge and ask of you. We don't live for ourselves. That's why Jesus said, if you cannot deny yourself, you cannot even follow him. You cannot be recognized as his disciple. You got to deny yourself. It's not about you. It's about you being an instrument in God's hand to fulfill the reason why he created you to the earth. Yes. So when you are created to the earth, you seek that purpose. You seek to advance that kingdom. You seek to advance that purpose. That is why you are here. You are an instrument. You are a tool. You are not the purpose. You are not the goal.
Okay. So does it mean that you personally work harder to go and fulfill, to be the tool? And you use your life as a tool for God. And then work double hard to make sure that your family also does not miss out. Is that how you do it? Or, because I'm sure there are lots of people who are actually in that stage where, it's a cultural thing. Where, everything you do is for your wife or for your children. That's what you do. Or even if it's not for yourself, it's for your children. So people want to show children
How can you say that?
And things like that. I mean, this is reality.
No, you cannot say that.
No, it's true. It's true.
I can't believe
it's
that.
True. No, I mean, if you go on Facebook, for example, you just see, celebration. Oh, my child is doing which is a good thing. Which everybody
do that
you
too.
do that too.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
But
I don't live for them.
Yeah, but I know where you're coming from. That it's not. Some people do that, and they really mean that's everything of what they're saying. So when they put that out, it's like that's them. That is their achievement. That is what they have.
But that's exactly the opposite. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. So how do I do that? For example, so I know that I am not living for myself and I'm not living for my family. I know that I'm living for Christ, for God, for his purpose, for the reason why I was created. So before I met my wife, I was praying to have a partner that will help me to fulfill, to make me more effective in fulfilling this purpose that God has created before, and to bring the person to my life that I will also help to identify and fulfill the reason why God created her. So that when we now meet, we will be able to bring up a godly family that will be a tool. Me, my wife, my children, we are all going to be tools in fulfilling not just my purpose, but their own, each one of their purposes. That the reason why God gives me children and give you children is for you to be a guardian and to be a teacher. You are trusted, they are entrusted into your life for the first 18 years of life, so that you'll be able to open their lives and let them know that the purpose of life is not that you are father and mother and we have children. Your purpose of life is not to marry. Your purpose of life is not to go and bring boyfriend, girlfriend, and get married and wear white garment and say I'm fulfilled. That is not the purpose of life. Even if you never marry, even if you never have children, forget about those. Are secondary stuff. Those are the things that every family is supposed to teach their children. That the purpose of life is that you were created by God. God created you and sent you here on an assignment. Now we are going to help you and get your education, help yourself to discover that assignment. That's why you are going to school. You are going to school to get yourself equipped, not to get salary, not to get a good job. No. First of all, to be able to fulfill, to pursue the purposes of God, fulfilling His purpose. In the process, it could be a good job that will still be, but that is not the job that you are there for, but for the purpose of God. If after finding the purpose of God and you started pursuing the purpose of God, then as a benefit, you could still have a wife or a child or a husband or something, but those are secondary stuff. And when you have the husband and wife, the purpose for you to have the husband and wife is to help them raise up a generation of people, also children, who will also know that they are living for God and His purpose first, and to make the world a better place and to bring the kingdom of God to the earth, so that the earth will reflect heaven. That is why we are all here, and that is why we marry. We don't just marry for anything. That's why we have children, for the purpose of helping those children to discover the purpose of life too. So you don't use blessings and turn blessings to the purpose. Those are benefits. Those are additional benefits. You don't turn benefits to purpose. The purpose is more than the benefits that you have.
So what do people who've already, started off in the wrong way, in terms of they just
need to hear this and change. You don't need to cut off your hand or your feet or something. Just change your priorities.
Yes, but there will be costs for that.
So just change your priorities, whatever the cost will be. Seek ye first the kingdom. Humble yourself under God. These children that you are even talking about, if God didn't give you, will you have them? Why are you thinking you are so big, or that you have something that you are responsible? Are you the one who have the children? Are you capable of having a child? You yourself, can you create a child? Can you have a child? If God doesn't, God is trusting that child into your guidance, into your hand. It's God's creation, that child. It's God's trust. So you cannot just say, it's my child, I have to change something, I have to struggle, how it will cost me to struggle. What? You don't have anything. You are nothing. All by yourself, you are nothing if God didn't give you those things. The wife you are talking about, if God didn't give you, she would divorce you tomorrow. Or she would not even agree. You know how many people want to marry, they are not marrying? Husband you have, you know how many people are looking for husbands? And you know how many couples are looking for children? You are nothing. You don't own anything. God owns those children. God owns that family. You are just a steward. You are supposed to be a steward of your life. You are supposed to be a steward to what you have. You don't possess anything. None of us own what we possess. None of us, anything that is in your care is a trust. We don't own what we have. God owns everything. We are just managers to supervise, to guide, to manage, to be a good steward to the person who is the owner of all things, including those children and that spouse.
I guess it will be very difficult for some people to, to be able to, go on and, take because of the cost?
I'm going to start. I think when will we start? Maybe when will I start that? Should I start on? Let's start on Monday. Let's start on Monday. Is it possible to start on Monday? I want to start a new series. That's what is going to be dedicated to stewardship. Like life is about stewardship, so that people will understand what I'm talking about now. It's going to be a whole series about stewardship.
I think we need
service and stewardship, so that people would know how this works. Can we start from Monday? Let's start from Monday.
Yes, I think it's important because when people have worked very hard to create whatever they have, they feel like it's theirs. It becomes theirs really. So they feel like I've worked hard to get this, and so when the idea of it's not yours. A lot of people know that, like they know that, okay, God says, this. So they say, yes, God owns it, yes. But then they do what they want to do. But what you're bringing up here is a form of stewardship where it's not just what you're saying, it's what you're really doing. It's a real, genuine, comes down to foundation you were speaking of earlier. Thank you for that answer. And I'm sure our viewers are also looking forward to that, as I am. It will be, so it starts on Monday? It will start on Monday next
stewardship
week.
Series. I think we are going to call it stewardship and service or something.
Okay. So
the meaning of life.
The meaning of life. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So don't miss that. That's
stewardship and the meaning of life.
Yeah. Okay. That's the new series. So please don't miss that for anything. Now, you said, I liked where you came off, when I made that comment, or I assumed you made that assumption about your experiences, and how you've said that you determined what your life became, and it has nothing, you've reduced the impact of experience. A good number of people live by experience. Actually, experience determines action. And if we say mostly in the African culture particularly, it's an experience-based culture. So, a lot of things are based on what you experience. It's like you make decisions based on what you experience, but you don't. How can you, if there are people who are watching who've had traumatic cases or they've had difficult things in their life, and those pains they've gone through in terms of experiences have now dictate how they act or what they do or the decisions they make. Do you have any advice for them in terms of how they can actually turn and start making this sort of stewardship-minded, 300-year minded focus? How can they make that turn, overcoming those type of pains that they've had growing up?
When you live by experience, that means that you have reduced yourself. You have reduced yourself to responding to life. You'll be responding to life. You are reacting to life. But instead of reacting to life and responding to life, you have to initiate life. So it is better to initiate life, and to be able to initiate life, you must be able to understand what life is about. So that's why I will encourage everybody to go and look for all my teachings about life and my books about life, understand life, and you'll be able to now to begin to initiate life.
So it's about initiating life.
Yes, rather than responding to life.
Okay, and the books that are there, you've heard the books already.
Oh, many books.
Many books on that, on the ones on life. I know there's one, Life is an Opportunity.
That's yes, Life is an Opportunity, the essence and value of life, how to live an effective life, how to get what you want in life, how to win in life, all kinds of books.
So when you wrote those books, did you know that there were people, I know, well, you already worked in Ukraine, so I guess you already knew the sort of needs. But did you kind of plan the release of these books? Did you have a thinking that these books, in order, that people will need them?
Yes, because I myself, I know what it cost me to be able to even come to the understanding that I have about life. I know that I was growing up and I couldn't find anybody to tell me about life. I had the Bible, but I couldn't understand, the concept and the totality and the comprehensiveness of the Bible and of life itself. The whole ideology of life was strange to me. And the philosophy of life, I needed to develop one. So I know what it cost me and how much I needed to pay the price and study and sacrifice to be able to come. So I know that most people will never be able to pay this kind of price. They don't even have an idea where to start. That's why I got everything ready-made and put them out there.
Wow. Thank you for that. And so I guess we have to avail ourselves of this opportunity. I think if any person says, I'll just speak for myself. I've now really resolved to to prioritize this, to prioritize developing, self-development, capacity development, to developing myself. That is, that's the priority. And I believe a lot of people are also making that decision. So need to make that decision quite seriously and urgently to develop your capacity. The books are available. There's so many of them, and they keep coming out every week. So if you want to really make the best out of it, you have to start, committing time to convert those things into yourself. Make them part of your personality, put them into yourself, and then you're able to have the foundation to build the future that goes beyond even just the length of your life, but even beyond that life, and where you can be skilled enough to convert tools, to make the tools that you have, including your own life, into a resource. And you can convert experiences, ideas, and put everything into your whole life system.
For people who want to understand life and the purpose of life and what life, they want to rearrange their life and plan. I just opened my iPad now and I'm looking at my YouTube page. So I went to the YouTube page and I went to the home page and looking at the series, the teachings by series. So when it comes to life, understanding life, you have to start with Love and Checklist series.
Okay.
That is series number 1. Then series number 2, Life is Predictable series. It's a whole series. The first one has 79 video. The second one has 47 video. Then we have the fourth video, which is Why Are We Here? Why Planet Earth? That has 12 videos. Then you have the Kingdom series, which is the 5th series, and that has 65 videos. Then you have the effective living series. That's what I wanted to. I was looking for the effective living series, and that effective living series is all about life. Is series number 13, and it has 38 videos in there. Then from there you could go to How to Know God and Be a Friend of God, which is series 24. Then you could go to Understanding Redemption, Salvation, and Being Born Again, which is series 30. Then How to Know God Through the Holy Spirit, which is series 27. How to Know God Through the Church, which is series 29. How to Know God Through the Bible, which is series 25. Then series 26, High Yielding Lifestyle versus Low Yielding Lifestyle. So those are the basic series. They are all there that people could go through.
Thank you so much.
Apart from the books.
Thank you so much for sharing that and for saying it. Clearly, there's things work. And also, I think it's important to say that while reading, Dr. Sunday suggests that you don't just pick out topics that look interesting within the series or that look like, oh, I think that's the topic video in the whole series that I'm looking for. Go through the whole thing, because starting from the first video through, there's a playlist and everything has been placed in order and titled, and many of them are even numbered, so try and go through the series, systematically, because they have been prepared in that way to get the best out of it and to develop yourself. The topic, what we've discussed, has been so heavy in terms of the content that I have probably 1,000 different things running through my mind. That I've found that if I ask more questions now, I don't think the quality of my questions will be so good, because I'll be asking things I haven't deeply thought about. Because right now, there are things just crossing, because I'm reflecting on myself. I'm reflecting, trying to think about others and think in their own shoes. I'm then thinking about what you're saying. And the more I'm thinking about it, you're extending it.
Well, that's what we did yesterday. We did 2 hours. And then we had callers coming.
Yes.
And then the calls also lasted for another 2 hours. So we have done 2 hours today.
Yeah.
And we could also open the door today for calls to come in. So the way to call in is to go to Facebook Messenger. And when you get to Facebook Messenger, look for Move Agents. That is one word, Move Agents. Move Agents Matic. When you get to Move Agents on Facebook Messenger, then just write and drop us a line and say you would like to call or you would like to contribute, and then we will call you back. You don't call when you get to Facebook Messenger. You just write that I want to call. That is Move Agents on Facebook Messenger. move agents, one word. And this is my latest book, very, very essential book, because the reason why I'm like the way I am, and a few people who have been able to do extraordinary things, because they are no more children. I spoke about that yesterday. They are sons. And this is the book, Kingdom of Sons. And I really hope that you'll be able to read this. This book this book, you need to read it and, I don't know, and, consume it and eat it and suck everything. So this is on Facebook, on Amazon, on pre-order right now. And you can get it for $3.99. So let's see if we have a caller. If we have a caller, we can begin to, get the calls if there are callers. If there are no callers, then you can continue with your questions.
Yes, I'll ask one question while we're waiting. Can you have someone who's not a Christian being a son? Because there are people doing this type of things.
Yes.
And could you say somebody is a son and it's not
they might not be a son of the kingdom. They might not be the son of the kingdom. But a lot of people who are not Christians, yes, are fulfilling their calling. There are lots of people who are not Christians that have been able to find the essence of life. There are a lot of people who are not Christians that have been able to discover the value of life. And they are living life according to their purposes, even though they are not Christians.
So what is the
why
difference?
Christians are entangled with the things of this world.
So what is the difference between a Christian son and that type of son?
A Christian son is somebody that has not just discovered his own calling and what he's supposed to do on earth, but he's also discovered the Father. He has also discovered the Father. So it's not just the people who are sons who are not of the kingdom, but who are sons of this world, and Jesus spoke about them. He says the sons of this world are wiser than the sons of the kingdom. So we have sons also of this world, but who are wiser sometimes. But what they are doing is that they have been able to identify and know the keys to fulfilling themselves on the earth and know the laws. And what they are going to have is they are going to be successful on the earth. They are going to be great on the earth. They are going to leave their mark on the earth, but then they are going to miss the kingdom of God. But the person who is a kingdom son, he has also been able to identify his calling on the earth, his purpose, and is able to do and leave his mark on the earth. But also, he's not just leaving his own mark on the earth, but he's also fulfilling the heartbeat of the Father. He's in sync with the heart of the Father. He's a son of the Father. He's reflecting the Father on the earth. He's reflecting, the character of the Father, the values of the Father, the purpose of the kingdom. Is bringing to pass on earth the will of the Father as it is in heaven. So he's a son of the kingdom by reflecting God. He's a son of the kingdom by also dominating the earth for God. So he's dominating the earth, not just for himself, not for his popularity, but he's dominating the earth for the Father. He's duplicating the kingdom of God on the earth. But for the sons of the world, they are dominating the earth as well, because God has given that authority to everybody anyway. But they have discovered it. They have recognized who they are, and they are dominating, but not for the glory of the Father. Not finding out the will of the Father and bringing it to pass. Not recreating the purposes and the will of the Father here. They are just living their own legacy, fulfilling their own purpose on the earth for themselves, but not for the sake of duplicating the heaven on earth.
Do you see the reality? Do you see the reality, the future reality will be a time when it will be the sons of the kingdom that will be, leading on earth in different spheres, in science, in technology?
If the world, if the Christian world will be able to follow my teachings and listen to my teachings, we are going to give birth to those kind of sons now. If they will read this book, if they will read more of my books, we are going to begin to, because what church has done is that it has captivated members and built slave camps and made Christians slaves in the churches. But right now, sons are being released. I think we have a caller. Hello?
Hello, DSA. Hello, good evening, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Who is calling from where?
It's Elizabeth.
Elizabeth from London. How are you doing?
I'm fine, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Nice to hear. Can you speak louder and closer to your device, please?
Okay, is it any better now?
Much better, much better.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Yes.
Just calling to say well done. Kudos to you. First of all, happy birthday.
Yes.
I hope
Thank
you had
you.
a wonderful time. Yeah. I've been listening tonight. You're just awesome as ever. DSA, you're just filled with so much wisdom. Like, there's just so much in you. And I just want to say, you've truly blessed myself. You've truly blessed me. I really like what really stood out for me the most tonight is just that idea of living with the mindset that there's not going to be a rapture. Just imagine that there's not going to be a rapture. And a lot of people have wasted away thinking that there's going to be the waiting. We're not being productive because we're so anxious about what's to come after life, or, what's going to happen to the entire life that you live when you look back on your deathbed and you're of no significance. It's really scary. And I believe it's a real awakening to all of us that are listening tonight. So thank you so much for saying that, DSA. The real reason I was calling is really to commend you, because I had the opportunity I was speaking to a few, I was at a meeting over the week, and I was speaking to a few moms, and one of the moms that was at this meeting was saying, she was sharing about her son. I'm really starting to realize these days how much parents actually are struggling to raise their children in the UK, and it was a meeting that had nothing to do with about children, but it was just the fact that this lady I think she just was so fed up that she sort of just bursted out, and she started talking about how it's difficult for her to raise a child in London, how he doesn't listen to her. She gives him everything, she does everything, she's a good mom, she's a single mom, she was sharing a lot of things, and it was really, really, and her son is about 15 years old and stuff. And I remember like just listening to her, she was just pouring out her heart. And she was saying how difficult it is for her to raise him and how he's becoming a terror. 15-year-old boy coming home at 12 in the night, she doesn't know what he's doing with his life. And I remember just going home that day because I didn't know what to say at that meeting at that moment. But I went home and I remember just like, I said a few things to her, to be honest. I said a few things whilst I was at the meeting, a few things that she could take away. But then, it was just not good enough for me. So I went back home and I was like, okay, what do I need to do? And then I went, so the next day I got the woman's number, and I went to another event and she was there. I don't know, maybe it's because I've carried her in my heart. She was there at the event, and I decided, okay, I went up to her. I was like, she saw me. She was so happy. She was like, Elizabeth, all the things you told me, I've been doing them. I was like, okay, I've not even told you anything, ma. Have you heard of Sunday Adelaja? She was like, no, I don't know Sunday Adelaja. I was like, oh, you don't know? Oh, you're behind. She was like, yeah. I was like, okay, you need to listen. So I had to bring up the family series. Even I did not know that the family series had about 190 something videos to watch. So I brought it up. We went on it, we Googled it, we went on YouTube, and then she was telling me about how she's been told to read books and stuff. And when I was listening to you tonight, I realized how I need to compile all the books that you've mentioned, because what I realized is a lot of parents are too busy focusing on how do I say, raising these children that they're not even focused on themselves. I feel like she's not even a personality, because I didn't even know where to start, because I felt like it's not even about that child. It was about her. I felt like the majority of the things that she said, not to blame the lady, but I feel like a lot of it is because the parent, we have allowed it to happen. She has allowed it to happen because she hasn't developed herself. And I feel like it's impossible for you to raise a child if you are not developed. It's impossible for you to give the best to anybody or give to any child if you yourself don't have those value systems. Like you said, DSA tonight, like even you have to work on yourself. I'm just so grateful because, I really realized how useful these materials are. When I told this lady about you, she was so happy. She told me that they've given her a few books to read. She said that because your videos are things that she can listen to, she was so excited. She couldn't wait to go home and start listening to these videos. And I told her about how she could watch those videos with her son as well, and how they can get started. I was able to sit with her and go through a few of your books. And I'm still going to, like I said, I'm going to go through this video tonight, because I believe by the time I compile all the books together and get them for her, then I think they're going to be very, very helpful for her. And I've really realized tonight that there's so much, that you've given to the world that a lot of us really need to start tapping into, because there's so much work to be done, and all hands on deck. Everyone needs to be on board right now for the good, because we all need to put on the work to see the results. You're not going to single-handedly carry out the work yourself, DSA. Each and every one of us needs to be there to do those works. And I really encourage everyone that's watching. And, you know, I just want to say that DSA, really, you're a blessing to us. And we just want you to know that. Thank you so much, DSA.
Beautiful, Elizabeth, as usual. And what you said about DSA, that is what your husband saw. And thank God that God opened your eyes and your husband's eyes to see the values and to be able
absolutely, yes. There's so much that success has learned from yourself. You know, since meeting you, you know, himself has always said as well that if he hadn't met you, he probably would not still be alive today. You know, just imagine someone that's been through depression, and you know, it's life. It's the reality. We've all had our own stories, and life sometimes just seems so unnecessary. And you know, coming to meet DSA, we know that, you know, I personally have said times that you are like the representation of Christ in the world. To me, when I got to meet you, it was like, you know, I was a massive eye-opener, you know, and each and every one of us, you know, well, myself and my husband, we said that countless times that, you know, not saying I want to know you to you know, to people come from the mindset of church. They've always gotten to know their pastor so they can serve their pastor. They're not thinking of what I can get out of the life of my pastor. So they carry that mentality. But when we came to know you, it was like you were someone where you weren't saying serve me. You were saying learn from me. You were saying emulate. You were saying look at what I can give. Look at what I have learned over time. And you know, with that, we were able to say, oh my God. You know, and I know the number of parents that I have spoken to about the families today, because especially with the children, how to deal with a 5-year-old, how to deal with a 7-year-old. You know, you've got the different categories of children as well, the different stages, and what parents can do. You know, I've seen how much you know, and you've used your experience. We've heard your children speak, your wife speak as well. You know, we can see what you've invested, we can see what you've built, and we can see the results of this as well. And you know, it works. And that's where people's focus should be, but people are easily distracted. People don't know what the priority is. And again, it's down to the fact that people don't have those skills, those value systems. They don't have those, you know, ability to focus on what they need to focus on and get the best out of it. And I truly believe that with your influence and with a lot of hands of that, Nigeria will truly change. And I believe so much work needs to be done, so much people need to be on board. And, you know, obviously you can always come to us in DSA.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I'm going to give my comment and response to your question, but go ahead and listen. When you drop, go and keep on listening. I will give some explanations now.
Okay, please, please address parents and parenting. I know you've done it in several videos as well. Parenting, and you know, like I said yesterday, I really truly believe a lot of parents are responsible for some of these damages. So please address that. Yes.
Thank you. All right, so the issue that she has just brought up, those are consequences. You know, the challenges that parents are having with their children and all those things, those are consequences. So what is the problem? The problem is that people are making too much a big deal about children. People are living animalistic life. They are living a lifestyle of biomasses, thinking I'm a grown-up, and since I'm a grown-up, the next thing I need to do is to find a mate. And once I mate, the natural consequences of that is to have children. So once you begin to live by that mindset, you are creating catastrophe. Every marriage and child that we give birth to could lead to catastrophe because we are not acting out of understanding. Children is not a big deal. Marriage is not a big deal. All these things are secondary stuff in life. And nobody should ever consider marriage or having children unless they have contacted purpose, unless they have discovered purpose. Only people who have discovered purpose and destiny and why they are here and who have given life to themselves qualify for marriage and for having children. Once you have not done that, you don't need to bother yourself about marriage and children. Because if you make a mistake of giving birth, of marrying, or giving birth without first of all discovering who you are and your mission and purpose on the earth, let me tell you things that will happen. Marriage, let's say without children. You got married to somebody that you love. You people love one another and you are telling one another, I cannot live without you, I cannot live without you, I'm going to die without you. So we married. Okay. But most of those talk are sheep talks based on instincts and stimuli and maybe reflexes. But they are not really well thought out processes. So you marry, you say you cannot live without one another, but because you have not put the primary things first and the secondary, and make the primary things primary and the secondary things secondary, you will discover that love that you say you love one another, you cannot live one another, because it is a decision based on instinct and on stimuli. You will end up finding out that marriage and if relationship or whatever you call love will become your biggest pain in life, or the source of your biggest pain in life, because you didn't put things in the right order. So because you have not put purpose ahead of instinct or of relationship or marriage, you have not given life to yourself before trying to build a life, hook up with another person, it will become your greatest pain and sorrow in life. So, for people who don't know, even when you have already discovered yourself, you should know that marriage will complicate your life 10 times more than the life you had before. Your life will be much more difficult and complicated 10 times 10. You think when you are single, you are unhappy, you are unfortunate, you are unlucky, you are not happy, you are unfulfilled. But when you marry like this, that marriage itself that you are thinking will give you fulfillment will complicate your life 10 times more than all the challenges you ever had before. Marriage is not for fulfillment as such. It's not to give you fulfillment. You are supposed to find fulfillment before marriage. That is number one. Number two, marriage is for people who are already fulfilled, who already found purpose, or who are already in the path and the way of fulfilling their own destiny. And also, marriage is for people who are not looking that somebody or some marriage will give them something, or somebody, a husband or a wife will give them fulfillment, or give them meaning of life, or give them joy, or give them fulfillment. No. Marriage is for people who already know that they have fulfillment, they have the meaning of life, and they want to add to another person so that the two of them might live for something higher than themselves, or their own comfort and their own joy and their own fulfillment, so that they will now together bring about greater fulfillment and then give birth to children who they will train to live a fulfilled life. But marriage, even if it's good or bad, if it is well done or it is not well done, even if it is well done, marriage will make your life more difficult 10 times more. So that's why you must be prepared before you go to marriage. But people don't. People just think, oh, I'm already 30, I'm already 25, I'm already 40, oh, I love one another, we love one another. And they just create a mess. When you do things like that, that marriage will become the greatest regret and the greatest source of pain for you. Secondly, let's now go to when marriage has been consummated and now you are having children. That is even much more serious. Nobody should even attempt to have children at all after marriage. If you want to marry, first of all, marry. If you feel you are ready for marriage, sort everything out and don't rush to have children for the next 3 to 4 years of your life. Don't even rush to have children. Before you consider having children, make sure you understand what you are doing. Don't ever make the mistake of going to have children by accident, that we just slept together and it just happened. We didn't do family plan, it just happened. You are not an animal now. You not be dog, you not be cat. You are not an animal that just slept. You are Homo sapiens. You are supposed to use your mind. The difference between human being and animals is that human being can use their mind. We have the mind we can use. Animals have instincts. They just sleep together and say something happened. They don't have explanation. But man is supposed to be able to to live by cause and effect. Animals don't live by cause and effect as such because they cannot do complex calculations and calculus. But you can as a human being. That's why God gave you the mind. So you don't just say, oh, we slept together, it just happened. Then that means you have reduced yourself to the level of animals. It is animals that will say, oh, we married, we slept together, and we are pregnant. No. You have to use your mind and plan when you are ready to have the children or not. Because what children will bring to your life, first of all, is this. Children will make your life to be much more complicated. The problems you were having before you were married, when you got married, that problem is multiplied 10 times. But when you have children, the problems you thought you had before you were married will be multiplied 100 times. So you were having one problem before you thought you had problem. You married, it became 10. Then you have children, it became 100. That's exactly what I mean. Marriage, children, you don't just go into having children because that's what everybody wants. You don't just go to having children because it is we slept together and my wife became pregnant. That is instinct. That is animalistic living. You've got to iron everything out, plan everything out when you are ready. First of all, you've got to say, before we try to marry, I've got to understand my spouse. You need 3 years minimum to understand one another. If you don't and you just become pregnant or immediately, the attention will go to the child. And then instead of then you'll just be fighting. You don't know one another. You don't know who you are living with. Even if you are friends before, living together as marriage is totally different. Even if you are friends for 10 years before. When you live together, you need 2-3 years or 4 years just to, not children, nothing, just to study one another and to just become normal with one another first. So that you will know the temperament and the peculiarities of one another before bringing another person into that union. If you don't do that and you are a wicked, that is witchcraft. You are as wicked as the witch because you don't use your mind. You are bringing somebody else into a relationship where things have not been ironed out. You are wicked to yourself, you are wicked to one another, and you are wicked to the child that you are bringing to that relationship. That's just number one. Understand one another for the first 3-4 years. Number two, before planning to have a child, make sure that you have everything prepared for that child. Make sure that you'll be able to sponsor that child. You'll be able to welcome that child. You will give him the best of life. Number three, make sure that you yourself understand life and what life is about. And you'll be able to train that child and give him and explain to him what life, because that's what parenting is about. Parenting is a trust, so that you'll be able to show the essence and value of life to that child and release him to be able to carry on that life of God where, on the earth, by himself. But if you don't understand that essence and value of life by yourself, the whole essence of life while you are here, and you are just giving back, what makes you better than pigs? You think school system will bring him up? You think that, just the fact that he's eating bread and butter, or he's eating you just grow up and become somebody? No, you need to be able to identify the values that you want to put. Identify the virtues that child will be brought up in, the principles, before you even bring him to the world. And a lot more things that we can talk about. So you can go to my family series to explore over 100 videos that are there. I'm sorry.
No, nothing to apologize about. It's quite, listening to that was quite something. But I think you really explained it. You really explained it. I'm sure a lot of people who will listen to this will, learn from it and start making adjustments. Yeah, because you really emphasized it. But something you said is you emphasized that the Homo sapien, we have a mind, and we're not like animals. So we need to use our mind in thinking through what we're trying to do. What would you say about, when there's this scripture that says, I have the mind of Christ, or the mind of Christ? It's a popular quote that a lot of people make. Where does mind of Christ come here when you've just moved beyond animal now to your own mind? What does mind of Christ mean then?
First of all, everybody is Homo sapiens. That's why, how did we get that? When God created man, the Bible says that he breathed the breath of life into that man that he created. He created the body of the man from the flesh, from the sound, from the dirt. After he created the dirt, the man, the shape of the man, he breathed his own life into that person. Meaning the man has now body and has a spirit. But when the spirit of God joins the body, there is the third element of the man that comes alive, which is the mind. So that's why the Bible says that man became a living soul. So even though the life of God was there, the spirit of God was there, but until the mind is formed, that mind becoming a living soul is in the original. If you are going to translate it like that, it means the man became a thinking human, or Homo sapiens, a human that thinks. So if you do things without thinking, you are not human. You are just living on the basis of your instincts, which are the elements that are present in the flesh and which are also present in the animal. So what makes us superior to animals, we have instincts, animals have instincts. When you live on the level of instincts, you live animal life. But when you want not to be human, you need to ignite that other higher level that came into you when the Spirit of God came, which is the soul, thinking soul that is formulated. It is when you begin to think and use that Homo sapiens, that thinking ability, that is when you are human. So let's say, for example, you live 24 hours in a day and you sleep 8 hours and you have maybe 10 hours or 18 hours active life when you are not sleeping, or let's say 14 hours. And out of the 24 hours that you had or 18 hours that you have in a day, you are only purposefully, intentionally, consciously thinking through actions that you take and things that you did. You only thought in the maybe for 10 minutes. It means that all day you only function on animal level, on instinct and reflexes and stimuli. What happened is that it is only that 5 minutes or 10 minutes where you actually thought through what you did. You are intentional. When you are in the here and now, that is when you are thinking. That is when you are human. So out of 24 hours, you are only human for 10 minutes. It is when we do things that are well thought out that we are human. When we do things in autopilot and when we do things automatically by instinct, we are not human that time. So you shouldn't be giving birth to children not as a human, as animal, on the level of animal. That's why we have all these troubles later on in life for ourselves. But the question you ask is a bit different from that, right?
Yeah. So the thinking, where does the mind of Christ? Is the mind of Christ
now?
different?
So what I've explained right now is how every human being is supposed to function. So the first level is animal level, which is the instinct level. We can function on that level too, but we are not better than animal. But for us to be human, fully human, it is only when you think and the things that you do, consciously, that makes you to be alive, to be a human being. But then Christ is now challenged us and brought us to a higher challenge, that we should even be better than ordinary human, just Homo sapiens, that we should even clock our mind to the mind of Christ, which is a higher level of living. What does that mean? That word that we have the mind of Christ is not for you to be, it's not the same thing like the charismatics are doing, no. Because what charismatic Christians are doing with I have the mind of Christ is to claim the promise. They are busy claiming the promise and they are saying they are affirmation or confession. We are confessing, I confess, I have the mind of Christ, I confess, I have the mind of Christ and nothing changes. That is not what that thing is for. It's not for you to confess and affirm. God is just opening your eyes to know that as being in Christ Jesus, that you are supposed to live on a higher level as one that comes from above, which makes you to be above all the standards of the earth. Your standard is supposed to be above the standard of Homo sapiens, the professors that are only dependent on their mind. Because there are three levels of life. The first level of life is the life of instinct, the life of the flesh that I spoke about. The second level of life is the life that is just dependent on the mind, on intellect. But you have a higher level of life which is connected you to Christ. What does that mean? You are supposed to understand the mind of Christ. How Christ will have functioned in your place where you are right now. And functioning like him. That's what it means to have the mind of Christ. Having the mind of Christ is acting like him. Is behaving exactly the way Christ would have behaved if he had been in your place. So having the mind of Christ is not something for confession and proclamation and affirmation. It is something that you need to live out practically, that everybody will see that you are superior, you are coming from a higher place. That's what it means to have the mind of Christ.
I believe even the Christians got their name from being Christ-like. So in terms of they were living like Christ.
Yes.
So therefore today we can say, I now understand when you say Christianity is dead, really, nowadays. Like it
No
doesn't
Christianity,
exist.
yeah.
Well, it doesn't exist anymore because very few are living to that sort of standard of...
But when they saw the disciples in the Acts of the Apostles, they said they were with Christ. Why? Because they had the mind of Christ. Those are the people who had the mind of Christ. Then when Paul was also teaching the Christians, they would call them Christians. Why? Because they had the mind of Christ. They said they were with Jesus. Why? They were acting like Jesus. So they were seeing Jesus everywhere with them and in them because they had the mind of Christ.
Okay. Wow. So we should all be with this, have a mind of Christ, therefore. And we should be... So that's probably explains why while we were at the Independence Square, you said that while you were there, people did not identify that God was near them.
Yes.
So it wasn't only that God was in them, you were also saying that you, as a carrier representative of God, had not been...
identified.
Yes.
Yes.
They hadn't
Noticed.
identified you.
Yes.
Yes. You even said, use the word more important than notice. They hadn't taken attention.
Yes.
They hadn't taken attention of God. Of
That is
the
near
God
them.
in you that is next to them.
Yes. Hello?
Oh,
Yes, please. Who is calling from where?
oh, this is Adiola from London.
Adiola from London. Nice to hear you, man.
Yeah, DSA.
Yes.
You are something else. You know, the last video you did before you went on your holiday break,
Yeah.
you said your next attack will be on the elite, on the riches, on the poor, on everybody. Today's program, from yesterday, it has shown it. It has shown it. I was even driving when I joined, because I was coming from work. I had to park to make some comments, and my God, your words are profound. Your words are very, very profound. I can't just describe you. I have no word to describe you, DSA. I have no word. I searched all my vocabulary. I have no word to describe you. You are just in another class. I don't know how to describe it. But this is profound. This teaching is so great. I learned so much. And this guy, Ben, he pushed the right questions that, yes, it shows the mind, critical thinking mind. It brought out the best. I can't, yes, this is too much. I couldn't fathom, it was God's mark. I can't, you are in a class I can't describe, but thank you for all the teachings. Thank you so much. I wish I could do much. I wish I could, but I will take all the advantage that I'm still in the Western world. I'll take all the advantage to do as much as God's investment in, because that's your language, the God investment in you. No, that is, it really gave me some goose pimples, that, so God has investment in each and every one of us, and we don't even know it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And those who are buying jets, and you are sitting here being seen by many countries in the world, and some people are, advertising competing on jets to go there, no, they need to see this video and then think all over again. Everybody, from the poor to the rich, from the pastors to the GOs, from the Congress, everybody needs to just, search their mind and use their mind to the utmost that God has given us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. God bless you.
You are such a grateful person. I could feel you. And I know that if there had been words enough for you to describe your gratitude, you would have done that. Thank you, man.
Yes.
She's so grateful. She's touched.
I mean, that's the least you could do, really. That's the least we could do. That's the least you could do. I mean, I now see why the woman who used her hair to wash Jesus' feet, that sort of thing. Seriously, because next thing they say, oh, you're worshiping, this, that. So, okay. But I mean, there's some things that you encountered and you know that this is superior or not. And it's when you have, if you've tried to get knowledge or you try to understand and get knowledge, if you've encountered or worked with top people who are, top in their career and they start speaking, then you know the value of, what the value of knowledge is.
I think we have a caller as well. Hello?
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Hello?
Good evening, sir. Hello?
Hello? Yes.
I'm hearing. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Who is calling from where?
It's me, Osas from Italy.
Who?
Osas from Italy.
Osas. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a long time you've not called, oh.
It should be why because I was so busy. But I was following you every day. I used to follow you. Happy birthday, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I always share your posts. If you are following you, know that I'm sharing your posts. Only sometimes I don't have time. Even the program you did yesterday with our brother from UK, even this afternoon I watched it.
Okay.
It was so fantastic. We thank God for everything. I just want to thank you for your great work that you are doing for us, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We just want to thank you. I appreciate your work. Well, my little contribution I want to contribute, especially most of our, because as I was watching the program today, some of our sisters calling, they were mentioning some people they used to follow you before. I will beg the DSA family. We should not be promoting this kind of people in this platform because the people they want to make themselves to be popular. Because most of the one weekly, we attend the same church right from time. I never have a Facebook friends. You choose DSA, I got know about it, but we were attending the same routine here in Italy. What I'm trying to say, we should not be promoting them because they don't have message. They will just come to come and spy something from DSA, but whether they cannot get it, they want to go back and start something. I will please our DSA family, they should not be promoting them.
Just neglect them.
Yes, thank you. The first day you do interview with our brother Balogo. You talk on the issue of how the guy went to Nigeria where he want to go and spread something like concerning women like that. Is that day I delete this for my friend? I block it because this I know DSA. I will tell you, I will confess to you, I don't have any concern. Holy voice and net oil in my house. When I've not known you before. My house full with net oil. Because I get know about you, something concerning you. My life have changed totally. I'm being a Christian right from Nigeria, right from the Apostolic Church, from Assemblies of God. Before I came to Europe, where I would discover Redeem. I was trying to mingle with Redeem for years. I see that the activity is not doing well. I don't find you online since I've been following you. I have nothing that I get to know you about 3 years ago now. There is no day I have not watched your program because you have done a lot in my life, in my family. Talk of sin, having fear, you don't have faith in God. With me, we know that God is already with us. You have made us to know. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have made us to know. I will advise our DSS family, or if many people still have mind to go and do the way they did, or go and start their own. Please neglect these people. Don't mention their name in this platform. I don't even see their post. I Just because I watched your program yesterday, some people were calling their post. What concern? They don't have message.
Yes.
They don't have message.
Block them, or unfriend them so that you don't even see any of their messages.
I want to compare with our Pastor Sunday. It's not this boys that are trying to make themselves popular. Who knows them? There's nobody that knows them. Please, I will beg this family. Don't share their post. Don't even listen to them. They are relevant. They don't have anything to give. Even the one that in Italy, we attend the same regime for years. Before I come on, know about DSA, they don't have message. They don't find where to hook up and get some money to survive. Thank you, sir. I'm very appreciative.
Thank you so
God bless you.
Thank you so much, Osas. That's a word of wisdom. If you are there and you are still one of the people who are still seeing the messages of these people, you don't be distracted. Face real thing. Unfriend yourself from them, or just block them so that you don't see yourself. You don't need to be distracted. I mean, so much content out there for you to learn, and you are going to be distracted by any naysayers. You know what? I don't even see them. I don't even see any of their posts at all. I don't even know they exist in this world. So block them. Just forget. Focus on what you are here for. Sorry, sir.
Yes, I was just thinking about those. I was reflecting on those who are going to, in terms of taking advantage of what you're teaching, and I was reading a business book that there was a business book and then also even a psychology-related resource that was referring to the Matthew effect or the Matthew principle, which is based on the Bible. This is not a Christian book. This is like a real academic book. But it was talking about the Matthew effect or Matthew principle, and that to the ones who have more, they get more, and to the ones who have less, they lose what they have. So it comes to meaning
I have a whole book that is called "Why Does God Take from the Rich and Why Does God Take from the Poor and Give to the Rich?"
Yeah. So the rich.
No, not even the rich. I call it. Why does God take from those who don't have? Why does God take from those who don't have and give to those who have?
Yeah.
Very serious book.
So how do you think that applies within the DSA, people who are following you? Because I feel like that principle will sort of apply here in terms of where people should want to be. Because it feels like they need to be in the
I think we have a caller right
now.
Hello?
Hello, DSA.
Hello?
Hello, DSA. Good evening.
It's like you are speaking from Bluetooth or something. Your voice is not clear.
Yes,
You need to speak directly to the telephone, not through Bluetooth or computer.
Oh, okay. Okay, please hold on.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, much better now.
Oh, okay.
Good
evening, DSA.
Who is calling from where, sir?
Please, my name is Pastor Ernest. I'm calling from Ghana.
Oh, right, Pastor Ernest. Yeah, you called yesterday. Nice to hear your voice today.
Yes, sir. Nice to hear your voice too, sir.
Yes.
Yes, please. God bless you so much for today. I'm so much blessed. So much blessed. I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. I'm speechless, sir. And I've been listening to you, but as for today, you are really talking under a certain grace and a certain anointing, and it's beautiful. The wisdom and the things you are saying. I wish everybody was listening to you today. I mean, for you to say that, oh, you should know when you marry, you should know the reason why you marry. And even when you marry, you shouldn't start giving birth. I've never heard anything like this before. I knew that by the time you marry, you just have to give birth. And these things you are sharing today, they are so profound. They are simple yet profound. And I bless God for your life. I think we have hope. We have so much hope for this continent. And I'm so much enjoying it each and every day. And I really want to buy all your books. I'm putting money together to purchase all your books because your titles are mind-blowing. Just by looking at your titles, I'm I'm just overwhelmed. And I want to thank God for your life. And I keep praying for you that God's grace will be on you as you accomplish his work and fulfill his dream in Jesus' name.
Pastor Ernest, you are a hungry soul. And it is for these kind of people that God has raised someone like me up so that you will be filled up. But you know, I have a series that is called the Family Series. That's where you hear more about all those teachings about children, wife, man, and woman, and things like that.
Yes, DSA. I'll go there and go and watch all of them. I'll do that, sir.
Thank you, sir. God bless.
You're welcome. Thank you, too. God bless.
Yeah.
Okay.
So your question was?
So, considering that this is a principle, universally accepted principle, the Matthew principle.
Yes.
And that the ones who have more get more, and
Yes.
the ones who have less lose what they have and get poorer.
Yes.
If we put this to the knowledge and the resource that you've put out there,
yes,
that principle is definitely acting.
Yes.
So what is it that the people what should the people
DSA
have
family
more of to get more out of this resource? So would it be more hunger? Well, that's just, I'm sure it will be more.
I think we already
have
another caller.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello, DSA, good evening, sir.
Hello?
Hello, DSA, good evening, sir.
I can't hear the person. I think the person
Hello?
is... Hello?
Hello, sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Is that Peter?
Peter from Belgium, sir.
Yes, yes. How are you, sir?
Happy birthday, DSA.
Thank you.
I ready to call yesterday, but I was a little busy, so I couldn't contribute to yesterday's program. So I just want to thank you for all that you have been doing, all that you have done, and all that you are about to do, or you are still going to do. Because I'm so happy, I'm so blessed to know you. I'm so happy to know you in my lifetime and to listen to you when you are talking. And when you are speaking, anything that you are saying out from your mouth, I mean, it's so powerful and so, how to say it, blessing. I mean, some people don't want to hear it, but I'm sorry for them. Some people don't want to know now, it's left for them. As you have said, for 300 years, working for 300 years for now, for me, to my understanding, what I have learned from you and what I have known is even more than 300 years as for now. Because, yes, even me myself, I have learned that when I'm speaking, anytime I'm on phone, my phone, the word will be coming from my mouth as if I have gone to Harvard University. I have not been to university. I have not been to university before. But this is more than university because your word is knowledge. Your word is power. Your word is transformation. Your teaching brings life. It resurrects people. It resurrects you from slumber. It brings you out of light it brings you out of darkness to light. That is how the word I will use to describe your message, yes. I don't do any other thing every day when I'm at home, on my free time at work, just to equip myself with your word, with your teaching, with your books, with your understanding, looking at you alone. You know, when you were 1 month holiday, I told my wife, I said you are not on holiday. My wife thought you were in maybe somewhere in the seaside. I told my wife, I said, the thing that I understand from you, I don't think you are on any holiday out of the country, out of the house. You are there in your house. You are seeking for more wisdom from God.
You are right.
So you are asking, yes. I said, when you came out day before yesterday, from day before yesterday to today, and yesterday and today, I started seeing how, you know, how much you have gotten again to bless us. For those of us that understand your principle, that understand the gifts and the life that you are giving us. You know, one of my brother come from Italy few minutes ago. You know, he was talking about we should not. Actually, I support him with full hearted. We should not talk about these people anymore. We should not even refer our brothers of DSA family. We should not refer to them anymore, because when you are referring to them, they think they are they have gone, they have been somewhere, they have arrived, you know, but yeah, they have not seen anything, they have not known anything, they have not even studied a bit of you. Even this person that we are talking about now have not even read a chapter one of your book. So it's not even, he doesn't even know anything. He has not even traveled out of where he lives there. So he don't even know anything about you. If he wants to challenge you, I think I will take him on that. He should come and with what I have learned now, what I have known, he should come and challenge me so that we can talk about what I have known. I will teach him about the things, my understanding about DSA, about the books, about the teaching. I will educate him. So I will want to challenge him for that. We will put it on live so that we can talk about Bible, we can talk about teaching, we can talk about understanding, wisdom, we can talk about knowledge, kingdom, we can talk about any subject he wants to talk about, not criticize. Let us teach, let us educate the people. I want to announce to him, if he's hearing me, he can invite me so that we can come online to discuss important things about the kingdom of God, about what he has benefited, about what I benefit from DSA. That is on one part. You know, when all these things were happening, I knew that there are some people that will come because he needs something from you. That is what he's still doing. You know, they said, you know, some people are there that give their heart, they give themselves to the devil to use. They give themselves to people to use, because what he needs, what he wants, the reason he started following you is not for purpose. It's not for any reason. It's not for him to learn. It's for him to benefit. And it's pertain to all these money issues, all these people, because this is Nigeria, to money issues, because that is what he's doing today. Maybe they have bought him over, they are giving him a peanut, but he's selling his conscience. But that aside, DSA, I just want to thank you for the good work that you are doing. When I see you, when I'm watching you, I don't know how I feel. I don't know. My understanding have increased because your books and it contain knowledge. Sometimes I don't even finish one book. I would say it's only 3 out of your book that I have that I've finished. But I will read to this chapter. It's like, I mean, it's so powerful, it's so understanding, so knowledgeable. All your books with what I have now. When I'm speaking, people say, Peter, I mean, where I'm talking from, I see things clearly. When they are talking about politics, I know what to say. Sometimes I look, when they brought any issues you want to bring, the way I will come in, the way I will explain, the way I will talk, people started seeing me in different ways. But what is the secret? Is the teaching of Dr. Sunday Adelaja, DSA. That is your teaching. That is what you have done. So many people are benefiting. So many people are benefiting, and many people will see benefit, because this movement and what you are doing will not stop, and no man can stop it anymore, because many people are benefiting from it, many people are gaining from it, many people are learning from it. I mean, if I see people that is calling, I see them, oh my God, thank you, Jesus, because these people they have truth, they know the truth. Many people are still going to know more before this month end, this new month that is coming, before the end of the year, because many new people are calling. And the people that don't want to know now, later, they will not regret, but they will still understand. They will still come back. They say, I just want to wish you more money, many years to come, and more grace, more anointing, more power, more knowledge. You have it all, but God has given you that power for you to bless us. I thank you for that. Thank you, DSA.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Peter. Brilliant. You know, the solution to that is not to be distracted. Focus on what you came here for. Unfriend yourself from anybody that is distracting you, block them, and focus on the truth that you came for. That is also the answer for the question you're asking. What should people focus on if they don't want what they already have to be taken from them? And the key is to use what you have, first of all, and also to make sure that you are a good steward of what you have. And that all wisdom is coming from Matthew chapter 25. That's why they call it Matthew principle, because it is about being a steward of the little thing you have learned. Instead of you go and convert what you have learned, even if it is one thing you have learned from DSA, convert it to a product. Focus more on conversion. of the little thing you've learned rather than of what is going on, what is other people saying, what are these things in, focus to be responsible and to be a better steward of what you are learning.
So therefore, to those who convert more,
yes,
more is given.
More is given.
Wow. And
if you don't convert, less is given. Whatever you have
will be taken away from you. Wow.
Yes.
And when you think about Pareto principle, which is 80-20
Yes.
principle, that becomes scarier. That if we apply Pareto principle here, we can almost say that only 20% of people are likely
Yes,
to
to
actually make the most of what you're trying to get overall. So a good 80% of people will not.
Just be
or will
crowd.
just be following.
Yeah.
So therefore, I'm sure viewers are hearing, you have to want to be in that 20% bracket, meaning develop yourself. There's so much resources there. On Facebook, on YouTube. On YouTube, there's series. You can go over different series and go through different series sessions and develop yourself. Go over there, develop yourself. It's urgent. I think it's no longer, it should, at least for me, I feel like it's urgent. You need to really intensively start thinking about understanding for a foundation, because you have to build a foundation, then you have to then build on from a foundation. So, and we don't really have a lot of time. So, it needs being wise, really, and knowing how best to use your time.
Yep.
Thank you, sir, for that insight. You've mentioned some things, for example, where you talked about 3 years minimum before you have children. That's what you should think about after marriage. Where do you get the numbers from in terms of 3 years there, or you should spend this amount of time on? How have you come to those numbers? How have you actually come to those finally as this is what you suggest as?
Yeah, that is my own conclusion. It's not that I've read a scientific study anywhere. It's just my own conclusion that you cannot know one person in 1 year. 2 years is not enough. 3 years is just average. That's the minimum. For you to really get together with another person, living together in the same house, you need at least 3 years, maybe 5 years before you bring any distraction, because a child is a big distraction from your relationship. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that means you have to know your partner first of all.
Yes.
Why is knowing them important before children? Well, the children become a distraction, but why do you need to know them to that extent? I mean, some people feel like they've already dated them. I mean, they've gone out with them already. They've known all they need to know. Now it's time to just have children and get on with life. But you're saying that you really need to know them. Why do you really need to know someone in that sort of way?
If there is anyone out there that has married after dating, they will also tell you that there is a big difference between dating and not living in the same house together. Dating, just meeting in church and meeting in restaurant and meeting in the parks and visiting one another. Everybody puts out a beautiful face. Everybody wants to try to play safe. The girls try to pretend and present themselves as who they are really not. They try to be the best girls out there, like angels. And you, as the man, you want to present yourself as the best of man, as if you are a prince on the white horse or something, a chivalry, or what they call it, chivalry, or you're like a prince on the horse. No, but that is when you are dating. Everybody is pretending. Everybody is deceiving one another. So, but when you begin to live in the same house, that is when reality comes. First of all, when you wake up in the morning, the first time after your marriage, it's even a strange thing for you to see somebody is lying beside you, even though you love them. But I mean, why should you be here all the time? Okay, but why should you be here? It's a strange concept. Especially if you are used to living by yourself before. And then you love this person, but you would like them to be there when you need them, when necessary. But to just be there, I mean, you cannot roll to the left to the right side of your bed anymore. You cannot, turn around. You cannot, because if you turn around, you are turning to them, and then they raise up their leg, and by the time you wake up in the morning, somebody's head leg is on you. And what's that about? I mean, then somebody is sweating, and then you are smelling all that. What is all this about? So it's crazy to try to live your life with another person's life. Then in the morning, you wake up in the morning, you remember where you put your toothbrush from last night, from yesterday. But now you wake up and then the toothbrush is no more there. What's happening? I mean, the toothpaste is. You know where you remember where you put the toothpaste, and now the toothpaste is no more there. What's wrong? Oh, then you remember. Oh, yeah. I think it is. I have a husband now. You know. Then you have to talk to him and find out, and you don't want to talk to him anyhow. So you still pretend in the first few hours to try to be a good person and try to talk to them in a way that they will not be offended. Yeah. Then you even talk to them, you did your best to talk to them in a very smooth way, and then they get offended after all because they think I won't have talked to you like that. Then what is that? Why should you even be bothered about somebody getting offended or something? Okay, then you want to go out. Then somebody said, okay, no, you can't, no, you know, where did you go? Why should you be asking me where did I go? Whose problem is that? I mean, what's that about? Or I don't want to go to bed now. You know, you normally go to bed in your own life the time you want. But now, we need to go and sleep. You want to go and sleep. Why me? Right. You know, your life is totally dependent. You know, everything is messed up. You need one whole year just to fix that. You know, and then who will take the garbage out, the dust, who will clean the house, you didn't do this. You begin to see reality of who you married. That you never married an angel, or that person is not an angel at all. And then you will discover that you yourself are not an angel. So the first year is even discovering yourself, that you are not you will come to the conclusion very fast that you are not as good as you thought. But first of all, you will come to the conclusion that they are not as good as they are, that you thought. The first year, second year, you'll be thinking you made a mistake. Because she's not the angel that I thought she was going to be. And then the second year, you'll be thinking she's really not an angel. But by the third year, you'll be discovering that, oh, maybe I am the one who's not an angel too. You know, then you'll be discovering that, wow, because you'll begin to find faults in you. And you begin to find faults that you never even knew you had all those faults before. So all those things, can you imagine that a child is there now? You don't even have time to discuss those things, and you just be fighting because there is no patience anymore. You just want to resolve things as fast as possible, and it's only crisis and, you know, bitterness and anger and, you know, confusion, and then you still have to do other things, work, church. I mean, marriage is no joke. Yeah. I tell you, it's going to be 10 times worse. Yeah. And if it's having to with children, it's going to be 100 times worse.
No, I know today's topic is not a marriage topic, but just on that, when I guess some people, and you know, at least what is it if they say if a man says, "Oh, I want my own space," and the woman says, "I want my own space." Beautiful. I think people struggle with that type of thing. Like, "I want my space" means you're rejecting me. How do they do things?
Hello.
I guess we'll go.
Hey, yes, good afternoon, sir. This is Solomon Raj from Boston, Massachusetts.
Yes, Solomon. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm very fine. Thank you, Pastor. Before I start, I want to wish you happy birthday in area.
Yeah.
It was glorious. Pastor, I just want to start from yesterday.
Yes.
Though I made attempt to call, but I couldn't. And today also, it was another thing altogether. It was mind-blowing, honestly. Yeah, Pastor, you see, those of us that have studied you from afar,
yes, sir,
at least we can tell to an extent who you are.
Yes.
When you talk about life is predictable, we have seen it demonstrated in you several times.
Yes, sir.
It's not just what we read, it's what we are seeing practical.
Yeah.
You predicted. Even during the election, you didn't say God told me, or you just said, see, you can predict life.
Yes.
You can give the outcomes of life.
Yes.
And you prove it.
Yes, sir.
You showed it to the entire world. Even before the election, you were recording so that people can hold you for that.
Yes.
Now again, you talk about Pa Elton.
Yes.
Because after listening to Pa Elton, I was more than convinced that what you are doing is not just by your own understanding. Even you yourself, you don't even understand it.
Yes.
Because Pa Elton predicted and prophesied about this very time we are in.
Yes, sir.
That Nigerian corruption will be known everywhere.
Yes.
That it will stink. It will go even in the church. Every part of the world, they will know that Nigeria is corrupt.
Yes.
And in this period of time, that's when the grace of God will come upon Nigeria.
Yes.
That's when life again will shine again on Nigeria.
Yes.
And this is what we are seeing. So I don't understand why anybody shouldn't even like embrace this gift we are seeing right now. But Pastor, my question here is this. We don't even need to wait for you anymore to come. If we can have our own personal assignment you can give to us,
Yes.
then we'll start running with that vision.
Okay.
Yeah, because even like some of us are really ready. I'm telling you the truth. Give us our own assignment that we can be doing gradually.
You are talking about the Nigerian Transformation Project.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what I will need you to do is to write your, CV for me, and everything, all the skills that you have and qualifications. If you can write my email, I'm sure you should know my email is pastor@godembassy.org.
Yes, I do have it.
Yes, if you send that to me, we'll be able to. We're already working. We already have team members and think tanks that are working with us, so we could make you to join the team.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Yes, Pastor. So you see, like, look at the answers we are giving today. Can you imagine it? I can't even like close my mouth for a second because they're all just mind blowing. They're all mind blowing. In fact, I've never heard of it anywhere. So this is my conclusion here, Pastor.
Wow.
I don't even listen to all those stupid distractions. I don't even, when I see it, I pass by because I'm not going to benefit anything from it.
Yes.
That's 100%. There is nothing anyone can benefit. The only thing I see is that whatever anybody is doing is even helping us get understanding of where we are going to.
Yes.
Yes, Pastor. I want to say
Solomon, thank you so very much.
Thank you very much.
A man of wisdom.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for this.
God bless.
God bless.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes. Wow. That's amazing. Yes, I was just saying, this is just a sort of a detour from the main thing.
Yes.
But I was saying, how do married couples, how should they live with the statement, I want my space? How should they deal with that?
Oh, it has to be, that's why we must not just be animalistic and live by emotions and live by instincts. It is logical. Think about it. Sit down and reason it out. There might be a need for it. Everybody needs their own space. If you say, that you are rejecting me, no, let's argue it. Let's present it. Like, for example, in my own family, do you know that, we have one bedroom with my wife, but apart from the bedroom that two of us have generally, she has another bedroom where she goes to when she wants to be by herself. And I have another room where I go to when I want to be by myself. In the same floor, we have a whole floor for that. So we have one bedroom where we could all be together at the same time, but we also have each of our own bedrooms. I don't know if you get it.
Yeah,
so because we want to give one another space. When we used to have just one bedroom, it used to be crisis all the time. Because first of all, my wife likes to sleep with the window open because she wants the fresh air, and I'm cold. That is one crisis. But number two, when I want to sleep, I cannot just sleep like that, to just sleep with nothing, with everything quiet. But she needs to sleep with everything quiet. But me, I need to sleep with some messages playing. So I want to learn and fall asleep in the process. That is a crisis for her. Then in the morning, I wake up, I used to wake up to pray in the night. And she's sleeping. And the problem with her is that when anything moves, she wakes up. When I enter the room or anything, she wakes up. It's a whole crisis, a life of crisis, if you will not recognize the need for each other's space. So, but if you are too shy and you say you are trying to be political correctness, it's political correctness that I say, I don't want to raise the topic. She will think I don't love her, or I'm rejecting her. Just be matured, grow up, guys, grow up and face it.
Wow, growing up to be sons. I think it's there actually, Kingdom of Sons, right? grow up and have your own space. Okay.
If you need it, you just discuss it. It might not be relevant for everybody. I think we have a caller.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, DSA. This is Mabu Chinwe.
Yes, my sister. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Yes.
DSA.
Yes.
How can we tell you thank you? Is there any way we can tell you thank you? Please, I just want to hear. How can we say thank you to you?
Wow.
You are just from another planet. Sometimes you make me cry, but it's tear of joy.
Wow.
You make me cry, but it's tear. But I will try and take whatever that happens, because even Christ, some of us are still not accepting him.
Yeah.
So why will everybody even accept you?
Yeah.
So based on that, please, I say thank you so much for being in our generation. Thank you so much. I just told them, if there's any free space, let them fix me there. I just want to say thank you to you, DSA. Thank you on behalf of those trying to do you wrong. I say thank you and forgive.
Yes.
Please keep rocking.
Yeah.
Keep kinging. Keep reigning for your Father that sends you. Thank you for saying, send me, Lord. Thank you so much, DSA. Even ordinary two people that was beside Christ, one by the left, one by the right, one was still at the point of death accusing him. DSA, please overlook it, march on. Please, keep being the God's Army General you are. I love you so much. I thank you so much. Let me even ask you this. Thank God my daughter is able to follow me. Even in my own house, I can't even get souls for Christ. I can't get my two sons to follow me.
Yes.
And I will stand up and talk to you. Is that not being insane?
Yeah.
That's being insane. Even in my own nuclear home,
Yeah.
I'm not able to get my husband to follow me. I'm not able to get my two sons to follow me. Thank God my daughter followed me. Only one in a home. Only one. And I will come out to talk against you because we are hiding behind the Facebook. Yes, please march on. March on. March on. The Lord is with you. Thank you so much.
You are a woman of wisdom, the Esther of Biafra land. And I want to answer the question you asked initially. How can you be grateful? I have an answer to that. I have a video that is exactly what it's called. It's called the levels of gratitude. DSA's levels of gratitude. DSA's levels of gratitude. So go and look for that video on YouTube. DSA's levels of gratitude. Or just write DSA gratitude, level of gratitude, and you'll be able to see how to be grateful to me. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes. Wow. Thank you so much. I was going to even ask that. I was going to say how best to say thank you, but the resources there. So just search on YouTube, put those words there and Sunday Adelaja after, and the video will come up. During the discussion, you've really emphasized something, and I noted it, which is living by insight. Could you expound on that? What does it mean, living by insight? Because
I didn't say insight. I said foresight.
Foresight. Okay, so there's a difference between living by insight and foresight.
Yes.
Okay. But you can't live by insight.
Just like there is a difference between reference and inference.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So is living by insight a thing? Is that something that you could...
You want me to talk about living
yes,
by
it's
insight?
a different thing, but is that something you do?
Yeah.
Because you've explained a lot of things on foresight in terms of
I've already, yes.
But is it possible living by insight? Is that a type
you don't
of living
live by
or something?
You don't live by
It's not possible
insight,
to do so.
but you have insight.
Okay.
Your insight, of course, determines your decisions and your life behaviors. So yeah, you live by insight in the sense that it's your insight determines your behavioral patterns. But insight basically are your level of understanding. And not just what you know, but the understanding that you have towards those things that you know. because there is a big difference between knowledge and understanding.
Okay, so understanding of what you know, not just what you know.
Yes, yes.
Could you even have another level where you understand what you understand of what you know? Is that possible?
Say that again.
Could you understand, have a broader understanding of your understanding, sort of like a reflection?
Yes.
Double reflection on what you.
Yes, I will come back to the topic of understanding, but I think we have a caller right now.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi, this is Victoria. Good afternoon, good evening, sir.
Yes, my sister. How are you, Victoria?
I'm very fine, thank you.
We
I
need-
want to support what the last caller.
We need you
I
to.
want to support what.
Yes, we need you to be stable and to make sure that your device is stable and you are not walking around because it's like it's breaking a bit.
Oh, really? I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
I just want to support the last caller.
Yes.
To thank you on behalf of the haters too. Seriously, it's not their fault. You know, everybody must eat.
Yes.
And I think they are using that to get some kind of income.
Yes.
To sustain. Do you know how many times they mention your name, even in the other room?
Wow.
Your name is just being mentioned. They are just hustlers. Forgive them, pardon them. They are indirectly your employees too. You
Yes, yes.
They are indirectly they are working for you. They edit your videos, they cut your videos. While you are sleeping, the enemy comes to plant. So you are really keeping them busy. Forgive them, let them keep making money off you from your name. And they are grateful. They are grateful. So I'm thanking you on behalf of them, not for myself now. I already thank you. Well, I'm thanking you on behalf of them. They always watch your videos, but shame cannot allow them to show their faces.
Yes.
So we are grateful. They are grateful, and they can't live without you. They can't breathe without you.
Yeah.
Their world will collapse without you.
Yes.
Without you making a video anymore. Without you. So just know that you are a hero.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
You, sir. All right. God bless you.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very good perspective right there.
Yes.
Okay, what were we talking about?
Yes, I was talking about, where what you have reflective practice, where you could reflect on what you're doing.
Yes.
Could you, do you have a case where you understand, where you sort of reflect on your own understanding of the knowledge?
Oh, yes. You have to do that all the time.
All the time?
Yes, you have to do an inventory of what you know and what you understand, or what you think you understand. And you have to critique your understanding. And not just reflect on your understanding, but critique your understanding.
And when you mean all the time, how often is that all the time? Like, are you saying every second, or is it something
No,
weekly,
as soon as there are opportunities for that, or there are reasons for that. So you don't just sit down reflecting on your understanding. No, there might be reasons or something challenges you that makes you to do that.
To review what you already know and
yes.
how you're understanding in perspective.
Yes.
Wow. Can you tell us more of your learning strategy? Because learning is a big part of this. If you want to have a foundation to set up 300 years ahead, you have to learn. There's so much to learn. I mean, your books are one thing, but you even have to go into that to your area or your land that you're trying to conquer. You still have to cover knowledge on that area as well. What's your learning strategy? How do you learn quickly? Because you have to learn quickly in this case. So how can that be done? How do you learn? What's your strategy for learning? Which is different from self-development generally, but your learning itself, that's direct process of learning.
First of all, you have to define for yourself your mission in life, why you are here, what you are living for. So your learning should be around that. Secondly, you have to also define for yourself the 3 to 5 things that you allow yourself to think about. And I think I already have that video somewhere there, the things that Pastor Sunday think about. So, and you've defined for yourself. And these things have to be coming out from things that are around your purpose and the things that you are living for. So you define your the area of the things that you want to permit yourself to watch, to see, to hear, to do, and all other things, you cut them off from yourself, from your life. And then you study and run those things as well. Then cut off all other things because there will be distractions.
Okay. So how do you read a book? If you've got a book now, it's based on the three things that you focused about. It's directed to your mission. You have the book. You've just got a new book.
Yes.
How do you read it?
Read it as usual. Just read.
read normal.
Yeah, read the book 2 times. You need to read every book twice. The first thing you do is to read generally to have general understanding and concept of the book. But when you read the book, you must make sure that you are underlining or doing some notes on what you are getting. Then the second reading we have to be to go and read on those particular areas that you have highlighted that you think that address and give you some things that really minister to you from that book.
So you read other books as well to back up that book or on
No,
the same text?
that
on the
same book.
text.
If this book, for example, Kingdom of Sons, if it's a book of 200 pages, I read everything through, but maybe I underline 20 pages. No, in total.
Yes.
Those are the things that really touch me, minister to me. So I just come back to the book again and I extract those things and I study those particular ones.
So the things that stand out to you, because what stands out to you might be different from what stands out to someone else.
Yes.
What is the significance of the things that stand out to you when you're reading things?
It might mean that is where you are right now, and that's where you are ready to accept, or that's what you are ready to assimilate. You might read it a second time and you see other things that stand out. And but that just shows where you are. It doesn't mean that those are the only things that are important in that book, but it just shows that those are the things you are ready to assimilate from that book.
So it may even be a good idea to read a book and after some years,
come
back to it.
Yes.
Because you might have matured and then a new concept.
You begin
the
to
book
see
will
what
start
you
making
didn't
new
see.
meaning.
Yeah, you begin to see what you never saw before.
So we can't say we've picked one of your books, we've read it, that book is done. There are still many more ahead. You still have to think about.
Yeah, at
going
least
back.
it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
At least you have an idea of what the whole book is about. So it's better than not to even have opened it at all.
Wow. Well, that is really so. That's good insight. Reading. At least read twice. Go over the book.
Yes.
Reading twice, at least twice, to really deeply understand the topic.
Yep.
Well, thank you for that. 300 years. I'm sure there's so many people that have been inspired today. I've been completely inspired by what I've heard. I don't know. I hope I'll be able to sleep today because I have to go back. I have to listen to this today. Just so that I don't miss out or I don't forget something. The things that are standing out to me now are so many, I'll have to take notes. And I'm sure a lot of other people will be doing so. And it's good to know that there's a full community of people who are trying to make progress, a full community of people who have decided to commit themselves to living for justice, for righteousness, for kindness, expressing the love of God in the world. And so wherever you are, just know that you're not alone. There's a good number of people who are working with you. There are a good number of people who are trying to develop themselves. So you have a team, but commit to your vision as we've been encouraged to, and go forward with faith. Yeah. Talking about the 300 years you've just said, is there a part? Could you put it in terms of faith? Because yesterday you said a lot about faith, faith in yourself, faith in God. In these three, could you just probably throw light in respect to the 300 years? Where does faith come in?
First of all, you just told me there are a lot of uncertainties.
Yes.
That could happen on the journey or in the process of trying to build my life for the next 300 years. Well, it takes faith to believe in the certainties and in the positive things. It takes faith in yourself, first of all. And but if you just want to have faith in God, then you most likely not do it, not even build a plan for 300 years, because you will think God knows, let God just fix it. So that's not the faith in God you need at this point. What you need at this point is faith in yourself. But then you need faith in God as well, as to the examples of Christ and the other godly people, how they have been able to use this principle. So faith in God should be able to make you to believe that God is like that. So you want to duplicate God. You want to repeat the examples of God and godly people, and you want to also believe in the sense that the nature of God himself is durability, and you want to, so it is secondary in this particular sense. Faith in yourself is primary, and faith in God is just more supplementary.
Okay, thank you for that answer. You speak a lot about individual responsibility, taking responsibility individually. Is there a place for collective responsibility? And when you think about it as individual versus collective, what is the difference in your view? And where, because I feel some people might, rather than taking individual collective, they expect some things to be done collectively, and so they don't personally take responsibility. Is there a time to be individually responsible, time to wait for collective or make a collective responsibility? What's the line between the two?
Well, you shouldn't bother yourself too much about collective responsibility. You should face more the issue of personal responsibility. I have a whole book on that, how to change a nation through personal responsibility, but I call it, you are born to make your nation great. You are born to make your nation great. So that's a book about personal responsibility. You are born to make your nation great. So it's talking about personal responsibility, even though there is collective responsibility also. But the only collective responsibility you should bother yourself about is the collective responsibility where you have a responsibility to. So, for example, when we talk about team building, that is a collective thing, collective responsibility of a team. But then you should bother yourself about it because you are a team, you are a member of that team. So, and you are working with the team, and you want the whole team and yourself to be responsible for something. Or when you are talking about Nigeria, for example, it's a collective responsibility that all Nigerians must do something, but you have to focus more on what you have to do, your own role, even though you are working as a team player as well. Or if you are talking about the body of Christ, which is a collective responsibility to evangelize the world, to spread the kingdom of God, but you should, again, focus on your own part of it. But collective responsibility is needed for you to consider the fact that there are other people who are trying to do the same thing, and you could collaborate with them and together try to make things happen. But basically, that the primary thing should be, in this case, personal responsibility. You are born to make your nation great. You are born, not just you. You have to. There has to be more on personal responsibility than on generic kind of approach.
Yes, I think that is quite important, that you are the one who is responsible to make your own greatness and to make the impact. You shouldn't wait for the government. You should probably not wait for other systems or church or people to do things for you.
Yeah.
You should do your own best and take your responsibility and go in and try and solve the problems that you have in front of you. Well, slightly digressing on that, but at least if looking at that position, what should an ideal president look like? Because I know there's a whole lot of issues and things that have come up on, this idea of presidential election. What is an ideal president? If we take Nigeria, for example, but not uniquely to Nigeria, I mean anywhere. What should a unique president be? What's your idea of what a president should be? Since they impact on the future of nations.
You just asked two different questions right there.
Okay, yes.
So I need to clarify, which one do you want me to answer? Because if the initial question you ask is, what is the picture of an ideal president?
Yes.
Then the second thing you just said is, what is the picture of a president? Those are two different questions altogether.
Okay, let's start with an ideal president.
Yeah, because that is the ultimate. Because yes. I don't want to deal with what a president should be, because we have presidents everywhere anyway. So, yeah, well, if you want to talk about ideal president, then I could address that.
Yes, please.
So, what is my own picture, my own understanding of an ideal president? An ideal president should be somebody that has recognized that he is the manager of the earth on God's behalf. So for somebody to try to be a president, he must have a strong conviction that he is here to manage the earth, to cultivate the earth, to develop the earth, to subdue the earth, to cultivate the earth, and to replenish the earth. Not just for his own sake, his own sake, or for the sake of his own citizens, but he is doing that all on behalf of God Almighty. An ideal president must be totally convinced that he has a mandate of God to be a manager of God, of the earth for him, for God here on earth. But it's not just to know this on the earth, but an ideal president must be addicted to the concept of restoring the earth. So that's one. Number two, this person that already has the conviction and the belief that he is a representative of God placed to restore the earth, to cultivate the earth, and to, develop the peace of the earth, which is his country, must also be so responsible that he does not just know that it's God's representative to manage the earth, but it goes beyond that he must have developed himself in all spheres of skills that he is so capable of employing all forms of skills that will permit him to dominate and penetrate and cultivate almost every sphere of a nation or of the land. He must have been, because he knows that he's the manager of the whole earth, so he should have developed himself in so many skills, in so many areas, that he will be able to basically cultivate any area of the society, of the country. So, which means that, for example, you cannot be a good president if you just say, I'm a lawyer. And because I'm a lawyer, and that law is the only thing you have done. You will never be a good president if you say, I'm a medical doctor, and the only thing you have done in your life is being a medical doctor. You will never be a good president to say, I'm a pastor, and the only thing you have done is you're being a pastor. You cannot be a good president if you just say, I'm a businessman, and the only thing you have done is to be a businessman. So you must have, for you to be an ideal president, you should have cultivate all these skills that I just mentioned. Not all profession, but at least you should have at least 10 distinctive skills, 10 to 100 different skills that you have mastered, where you are good in. So when you have a good command and a good understanding of managing all different spheres of the earth, then you can be an ideal president. Next point, for you to be an ideal president, you need to be able to capture the dreams of God. An ideal president must be able to reflect God's mind and reproduce the mind of God on the earth. So for you to be the president, the best president of your own country, you must be able to capture the mind of God in regards to your country. And the dreams in the mind of God, the dreams of God in regard to that land. And it must be well captured by you. And then what you do is to come and replicate that dream that is in the mind of God, in the heart of the Father regarding your land. You are in a position to replicate and duplicate it and then bring it to pass. That is what will make you a good president. Next point. For you to be an ideal president, you must be able to be a resource, a people developer, and a person of fruitfulness and reproduction. You must be a fruitful person. You must understand the concept of fruitfulness. You must understand the concept of fruitfulness. What that means is that you must know how to develop the resources of people around you. You must be able to know how to reproduce the skills that you know, that you have in the human capital resources that are around you and be able to help all that human capital resources that are around you to maximize their resources. And the same way, you must be able to know how to help duplicate and multiply and release the resources of the earth, which is your country itself. So it's a whole concept of fruitfulness that, that it will take another thing to talk about. So that is one. That is another point. Another point that will make you to be an ideal president is that you must be a team player, and you must be a team developer as well. So to be an ideal president, you must be a team player and a team developer. You must be a man of relationship and a man of, a team player and a team developer. That's it. Next point. For you to be an ideal president, you must be a fantastic leader. You must be a fantastic leader. You must be a leader of men. You must be a leader of men. You must be able to give people direction. You must be able to listen to them. You must be able to chart a path for them. And you must be able to see yourself as a ladder as well. All right. Now, next point, for you to be an ideal leader, you must be able to see yourself as a channel of blessing to other men. You must see yourself as a living sacrifice. You must see yourself as somebody that is bringing himself to the altar to set himself on fire, to sacrifice himself. A president must be willing to kill himself, to sacrifice himself, basically, to basically put himself on fire as a living sacrifice for the betterment of the people he wants to serve.
Wow. I think with that criteria, we'll probably have a handful of people who can qualify for that. That is...
because you said ideal.
Ideal.
So, and most people who want to become president don't want to become ideal presidents. They just want to become presidents. So that's a different thing.
But if you have the mind of Christ, you should be aiming for ideal.
Well, you put the standard out there as an ideal. Nobody thinks of an ideal president. They just want to be a good president. So you raise the bar.
So that could be something in where if you have a dream for being leading in any industry, you should probably reflect on what the ideals should be and then start working towards that.
Well, I hope we'll be able to cut out this and be able to release it so that maybe Joshua or something will be able to gather and we'll be able to set it out there. Maybe somebody will be able to see it and learn what it means to be an ideal president.
Okay. Wow. Thank you for that answer. A few other points. I'd hope that at the end, if we hadn't gotten any calls coming in, that there were just one set of type of questions. So they'll be the same.
I don't know if we still have callers. We'll have to let them check and tell us.
Okay. So this was the last part of it. But
okay.
I wanted to ask, so there will be different sectors that I might speak about, but the same question. Okay. And the question is says, because you've spoken and our theme today was, living for 300 years. I was saying, what is your 300-year plan for education in Africa? So that's beyond, not now. I have an idea of what you want to do while you're here. But I'm sure you have an idea of what you want it to be 300 years after you've gone. So do you have a 300-year plan for education in Africa?
When I talk about I'm living for 300 years, I'm not living for I'm not talking about a sphere of life or like education or politics, or I'm not developing my life around the concept of a particular sphere of life. I'm afraid that in the next 300 years, the whole idea of education will be totally different from what we know, that it might not even be called education anymore. So I'm not talking about things like that. Okay. I am making myself available for the next 300 years so that all the materials that I put out there will be relevant for education, for politics, for anything that will even evolve and exist in that time when I will not be there.
So foundational and principle matters.
Yes.
So things
just like Jesus. Jesus never spoke about education.
No, but the whole educational system, a lot of it is
Been
based
built,
on.
yes, but you see, it just puts out things there that will be useful both in education or medicine or sociology or psychology or politics or business, so that is the kind of approach that I want to have.
Okay. So therefore, what's your ideal educational system?
Okay. I'm afraid that I don't know why you want to talk about education.
Because I feel a lot of the things in the 300 years, if anybody, education is almost the most important thing here. Because if you have the foundation, then you almost can't do anything. So I feel that's why.
For me, I'm not saying education as the most important thing here.
Okay.
I'm saying self-education as the most important thing
Self-education,
here.
I see. So then there's a differentiation between education as a whole and self-education.
Yes. So when we are talking, all these things that we are talking about, I don't believe that they will be understood or be realized through education.
Through the institutions.
The institution of education. But I think they will be more appreciated through self-education, self-development, self-education. But I'm going to have educational institutions, like I spoke to you about, 1,000 research institutes, universities, colleges, and things like that. But I don't think those ones will live for 300 years. I don't care if they live for 300 years or not. Some of them will, some of them will not. But what I'm giving out will go beyond those universities. Even though some of them will easily live beyond 300 years. But what I'm giving out is supposed to surpass any structure, human structure that even me, I start. But when you now want me to answer your question about my ideal of education, my own understanding of education is that the educational system as we know it today, right now in the world, must be overhauled. The educational system as we know it today is a system of Uncle Sam that is put there by people who just want to produce managers, people who know just enough. They will just teach you enough for you to be able to come and serve the system and work for Uncle Sam and be employed as managers and administrators and directors. But you are not being taught to become the owner of your life. You are being taught to go and submit your life to somebody who will employ you, pay you some peanuts, give you compensation. But the whole education system of this world is based on you exchanging your life for a living. So you are going to go to school, be educated, so that you come out to give your life and surrender your life to what you call employers, whereby the employers will compensate you just for you to make a living. That is what the whole educational system of today is all about. And I'm against that. I have my own concept of education.
And would you say, would you want to share that concept? What is the concept like? What is it? Because it's going to go contrary to the world system. So yes, it therefore must have something to do with changing the world system or somehow going over it. But what does that look like?
Well, I would have preferred to have talked about this when people are fresher.
Yes, at the start.
Yeah, at the start. And it will be a different topic and it will be a fresh. But let me try to still paint the picture for the people who are particularly enthusiastic and ambitious, who really want to know. My own idea of education is that the educational system of this world must be collapsed. We must tear it down and start and raise up a new educational system that's going to be based on not people being given enough knowledge to go and look for a job. But my own concept is that education must be built in such a way that everybody is taught to discover himself, he or herself, who they are. So you are not being prepared to go and work. You are not being prepared to go and get a job. No, the educational system must be in such a way to help you discover who you are in primary, secondary school. So that primary, secondary school, before the end of secondary school, you already know what your calling in life is. With the educational system, the primary thing about it must be to help you discover your own calling in life. Then, when you are since you have discovered that in the first half of the primary school, second half of the primary school and first half of the secondary school, the second half of the secondary school is taking you to the old world, is introducing you to the old world of that area. Let's say, for example, you know that you have to do something in regards to medicine. So you got that from primary school and the early secondary school. The latter part of secondary school should now teach you about all the fragmentations of medicine. That medicine is not just being a doctor. You could be you could do microbiology. You might want to do optical something. You might want to do teeth something. You might just show, or you might want to be a medical technician, or you might want to do a medical researcher, or you might want to be a pharmacist. You might want to be, so that all 2 or 3 years left in secondary school should be to expose you to maybe 100 or 1,000 areas of medicine, different things that are available there, so that you don't just think you are going to be a medical doctor. Maybe you are supposed to be a medical researcher, or maybe you are supposed to be a medical scientist. Maybe you are supposed to produce medical equipment. Maybe you are supposed to do research and to do library, to do, chemical researches in medicine. But the way it is right now is that you are just supposed to do medicine and go get a job. No. So, but the whole thing, that the most important thing that I'm talking about is that the education system must be based on people discovering themselves. So once you discover yourself, then when you now finish discovering all areas of medicine that are there, that there are 100 facets to medicine, then you now know which one your heart is leading you to, which one is your own. Then that is what you go and study in university, not just medicine. You go and study as a medical researcher, as a medical scientist, as a medical laboratories or something like that. So that is what you now go for university for. So when you go to university for that, you are going there to invent, to create something that others are not to get a job. You are going there to realize who you are. Because you know that is what is in you. That is what is implanted in you. You want to discover things. You want to enrich yourself. You want to enrich your world. So education should be about self-fulfillment rather than going to get a job. So for example, let's say you were in primary, secondary school, and you discover that your area of interest is engineering. So, well, that is you know that it is your calling from heaven, and then you have to, find out what all forms of engineering that are there. So when you go to study engineering eventually in the university, you are studying that particular aspect of engineering where you want to realize yourself, not to get a job for it, but you want to fulfill it, you want to perfect that thing. So you are the master of your life. It is to help you when you come out of university. That skill that you got is to release what is in you. So, when you come out of university, it's for you to be able to use the skill, the knowledge of bringing out what is already buried in you. The same thing in every profession. So you are the owner of your own life, of your own profession, of your own destiny, what you want to do. Either you want to invent another thing, or you want to popularize it, or you want to develop. Education should be about just discovering all that is in you and possibility of bringing them out. So education is to equip you and teach you on how to discover that and how to get the skills and the mechanisms of, really realizing and subduing the earth and doing what you discover in yourself. That is in a nutshell.
Wow. Wow. I've never heard anything like that. I mean, that's my that's what I feel. I've never heard anything like that. But it makes a lot of sense.
So, for example, the reason why it will make a lot of sense in the years to come, in the next 300 years, is that soon artificial intelligence will take over employment. So the system that is existing right now is for employment. And as long as you are producing schools and educational system is producing proof for employment, what about when employment is no more necessary? 80% of the job and work that we have today will disappear soon. And there will be no there will be no employment, there will be no need to employ human beings. Artificial intelligence will be doing what everybody is doing right now. So the whole, you can say 80% of the whole world will be unemployed. So what will we then be doing? We will be discovering ourselves. What is buried inside of you, artificial intelligence can never bring out. But the way things are done right now is that you are being given education to go and work for something or somebody. So artificial intelligence can do the work because it's not what is coming from you. It's what somebody has designed for you to come and do. So artificial intelligence will do all the jobs. So what will you be doing? You will be redundant. You will be useless. So a lot of people are going to be useless in the years to come. But for you not to be useless, education must be reprogrammed to make you look inward, to discover who you are. And once we help you discover who you are, we give you the skills of popularizing it, producing it, multiplying it, germinating it, and developing it. The skills you have is just about bringing out, discovering yourself, bringing out more and more what is already inside of you, to be creating, to be bringing into the world the things from the invisible world. It's a word. Education will have to become focused instead of employment. It has to become creativity, self-discovery and self-germination, just about growing and developing and releasing. And then other people who are not skillful yet, they could be what do you call it? People who learn from you. Apprenticeship. So they could be apprenticeship. They could study as apprentice until they are released to go and release themselves as well. Not employment based. That's why I think my concept will take over the world eventually. This is the future of education. The world has not listened. I've never even shared it publicly before. This is the first time I'm sharing it. But what I'm talking about now, this is the future of education in the future.
Wow. Well, I think I'm honored to be there to hear it the first time. But it makes a lot of sense because a lot of people are working in jobs that they don't know why they're doing it. They hate it. They don't know why they're doing the job. They find themselves in careers, they don't know what they're doing there. People are confused in university, they don't know what to do. Young people in schools don't even know what they're trying to go for. And that is the system that continues, and there's no plan for change at the moment. But artificial intelligence, as you say, is just at the door. And it's so developed now that it can actually start acting. Some of it are just waiting for the right timing. But yes, definitely, it makes a lot of sense. Yes, and also
when I write my books are written based on this concept that I've just expressed. So most of my books are always about you discovering what's inside of you. Discovering yourself. Because that is the future. People will be looking for textbooks and books to read. That will help people, this concept. People who don't know what to do. That's why my books will be the future of the world education.
Wow. I think you dropped a gold nugget there, right there. I'm sure a few people might have picked that. But you've actually opened up a future industry. You've said what the future industry is going to be, a whole industry specifically, which is not necessarily subject or things like that. It's something about people developing themselves, some sort of individual productive capacity, developing that individual productive capacity.
Yes.
And so that is a whole thing that will grow. And probably hasn't even, although there are people doing motivation, but it's not really directed in the way you're saying it at the moment. Wow, that's insightful. Thank you for answering that question. I think at this point, it will not be best to bring up some more similar type of questions because it's a lot late now.
Yeah, you have about 10 more minutes before they shut us down.
They shut us down, exactly. So some of the questions will have, ideal, but I would have asked you more questions about your ideal because I've seen the ideal presidency you just answered and some of these things you've just given has opened up some things I've never thought of. So I think in other sessions when I'll have sessions to speak with you, I would like to bring those things up and and probably develop on the questions and develop on those to build them for next discussion, for next time when we do speak. Because otherwise, I wanted to also raise something about healthcare and something, but I think that will be that will likely be very extensive and take a lot of time. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are wishing that we will continue this series with you.
Yeah.
People like your questions. People like the fact that you are, provoking and picking on my brain and exploring my mind. And so people would like you to come on more often. Okay, I can't see Babusha, but I think we will announce it. We might have a different topic altogether just for you. And we'll be doing this, a program, so that, when they see the title of the program, they will know that that is you coming. And so they will be, so you'll be hosting the show from the UK.
Okay. That's yeah. I think it would take a lot of going over some of the things that you build, because I think if anything, I would be very interested to see how we could develop ideas and develop some of the things you've said. So that means I will go over the things you've mentioned, a lot of the things you've mentioned, and try to build.
Maybe other people will be writing you. Maybe they will be giving you questions and ideas of what to ask. Maybe there are a lot of things out there too that people would like to know. Ben OKOH, is that your name on Facebook?
Yes, that's it.
So people will be able to find you and communicate with you.
That would be great.
You leave tomorrow, right?
I leave tomorrow.
Yeah, so there will be no program tomorrow. Not with him. So it will be with another person. Yes. So
I'll do that. I will do that. So I guess we could say thank you everyone for joining us today. It's been awesome. I hope you've been as inspired, as blessed, as challenged as I've been, and even more, because I think our desire we should desire, that everybody is really going for the best in themselves and bringing out the best of who they are. I think we've not started to know who we are at all. At least for me, the more I listen to this, it just opens up possibilities, and I start to think, wait a minute, probably I don't even know who I am yet. I don't know. I don't know what I'm capable of. I think there's a lot more that I'm capable of. There's a lot more in me than what I'm used to. So I hope we've all been challenged in the same way, and we're ready to make that progress, paid sacrifice, sacrifice and pay the price and self-development to develop your capacity and start implementing the things. Converting, because there's sons that convert. So we should start, spending a lot of our time not on distractions, but really focus on conversion, conversion to products, conversion to tangible things, and that's fruitfulness, I guess. So to being fruitful in what we do. So I think from me, and probably I'll let you have the final words today. But for me, just wishing you all the best and encouraging us all to continue on this journey of self-development. That many years after, we can reflect back on it and know that we made the right choices. Many of us made decisions today. Many of us took notes and said, I want to do something different today. Yes, think about following those things through, and looking forward to celebrating things and having more testimonies like the one we had yesterday of people being inspired and moving forward. Yes, sir. I'm sure you have something to say, sir.
Yes, and I want to use the opportunity to say thank you to all the people that are here. And I want you to thank God as well for giving you the opportunity to be a part of this kind of discussions. But you see, I've already released a lot of these things out there in my YouTube videos. There are so many of them. Go playlist by playlist. Don't take anything for granted. There are a lot of things that are already either in my books or my YouTube page. Well, the latest book I just released, this one today, is the first day, is coming out on Amazon Unlimited. You can go and get it on Amazon Kindle, and Kingdom of Sons. You cannot even, I will not even try to tempt you to give you an idea of what is in that book. You will just think, I think you will cry. I think a lot of people will cry after reading this book, because you will think, what have I been doing in church? Have I been a Christian or not? Where have I been? Why is it that I didn't know these things? But better late than never. So, and I hope you've been challenged, not just to live for your 70 year and 80 years or 120 years, but to live beyond your life. My own example is 300 years. So you decide for yourself. How many years do you want to keep on living after you have left this world? Peace.